इंसान मैच डाउन हैकर पे खेल लेंगे और नहीं आ सकते मेरी जान पे ओके
देखो इकट्ठे छांप लाई ना पल्ले
Switching sides.
Stay safe.
पल्ले
Going back.
बॉल रहा है खड़ा
ओके
पैचे पैचे मुक गए
पैसे मुक नहीं गए साइड सब चेंज हो गया अंदर पैचे मुक गए
पैसे उतर मुक क्या
पैसे मुक गए जब बस ठीक हो गया यार इतना डिजिटली मेरा शेयर हो गया और जा तेरा शेयर तो गया तेरा शेयर मैं सेंडो बाकी मैं डीपी लेना मेरा लिटरली शेयर हो गया
ऐसे हेडफोनों का क्या फायदा यार तेरे हेडफोन की आवाज बहुत तेज है बहुत ज्यादा तेज अबे ओ बहुत तेज आवाज मामा ओए यार ये गन कैसे आएगी छुरा लेके सामने खड़ा हूं मैं पिस्टल पता नहीं 3 से आता था 1 से आता था सर जी आई लव यू
Standing. One enemy remaining.
Blocking sight. No charges left.
की फायदा तेरा
No one's my firepower. I got this.
ओए शफी तेरे पास स्किन है ये तुझे किसने दी
पता नहीं नीचे उठाइए यार
Reloading. Blocking sight.
उधर मार रहा था मैं जिधर ये सब मैं तेरी साइड से नहीं जा रहा
बेटा मेरे पीछे है
हाँ मैं तेरे साइड पे जिस साइड तू गया मैं फौरन साइड बदल दी
मेरे साथ
Spike planted.
मैं बोल रहा हूं शैम्पी मेरे पीछे है मुझे फुटस्टेप आए तो मैं बोल रहा हूं सर शैम्पी मेरे साथ है तू बहुत दूर है शैम्पी आजा
अबे मुझे नहीं पता मैं किधर जा रहा हूँ तो जा रहा हूँ
Last player standing.
शैम्पी पैसे ज़्यादा होंगे फार्मा तो है
क्या
पैसे ज़्यादा होंगे ना जाओ यार जो स्क्रीन पे यार स्क्रीन को लाइक करो शेयर करो
मरने से पैसे ज़्यादा होते हैं
नहीं आपकी गन जो ना वो ज़ाया हो जाती है
ओह
तो गन पैसा
मेरी बात हां तो तुम सीधे जाओ ठीक है ठीक है जाना तो
मैं इधर मिडिल में
प्लीज गो ए प्लीज
ओ अंग्रेज की बात
Keep up.
तू कौन है भाई पता नहीं क्या करता पर मैं कर लेता हूँ हमेशा
मिड में रहना
यार ये किससे होता था तू ओह यार ये पता नहीं कैसे होता पर कर लिया मैंने
Down. C.
Reloading.
स्कैम
Spike planted.
सी पे सारे बंदे भाग के जाते
Out of charges.
Last player standing.
पब्लिक तो बोलती है
You're done.
ओ पैच
Match point.
They're going to scatter from my stuff.
यार फोनिक्स पागल आ गई
भाई कैंपी को कहीं लेके दे दुकान की कैंपी को लेके दे Out of charges.
निकला बहुत सही वाला हट
Can I get a drop?
यार ले दे कैंपी
जा मेरा पुत्र है
ये ऐसे क्यों कर दिया यार ये सब ने
क्या
सब भी F6 प्रेस कर यार
Don't hold back.
Reloading.
Come on, let's go.
मारा अच्छा मेरा गन ही नहीं ली
Player standing.
चल भाई तुरंत
Win.
कितना हार हो गए यार प्रेडेटर की इज्जत का फलूदा कर दिया तुम लोगों ने
और कैंपी को खेलना आंदा नहीं आ गया ये तो आया
सारा अनरेटेड ना गाना उन्होंने लॉस स्पाइक रश ठीक है उन्हें भाई देखिए सैंडो में देखो
ना जा रहा है
जा जा
Match found.
अभी तक किधर ही है ये
लव यू शक्ति
कैंपी की क्या है तेरी आवाज डबल आ रही है ना
सॉरी सर
नहीं
शक्ति तेरे साथ ज्यादती हो गई शक्ति
मेरे साथ
चलो ठीक है अल्लाह हाफिज़ wherever they run I will fight.
तेरा सैंडो में ले लिया
दल्ले मैं देख रहा हूँ कि मेरा सेलेक्ट क्यों नहीं हो रहा
अबे मैं इसकी वो वाली एबिलिटी चेक करना चाह रहा हूँ जो पीछे टेलीपोर्ट होता है
मेरी पता नहीं कीज किस सेट नहीं क्या सिस्टम है
जोरो जोरो
ये वालो whenever
यार गुजर का फोन आया मैंने पता नहीं क्या कह रहा है
की कह रहा
दोबारा कॉल करना कि पिता जी फिर लग गया यार आयो अच्छे रह क्रिकेट में खेलने सारी का
और तेरा दिमाग खराब है ऐसे इतनी दूर है हम
कहाँ कर रहे हैं अभी
छत तुम्हारी सेक्सी है इधर लेके आओ छत
चलो हम ले आते हैं आप छत पे लाइट लग गई
यार मोबाइल की लाइट है वैसे हम कैसे लाइट लगाएं क्या सिस्टम करें हमें समझ नहीं आ रहा
अरे मोबाइल की लाइट से खेला जाएगा ना क्रिकेट
हाँ जी खेला जाएगा जाओ तुम
आप फुद्दू हो फिर
तो ये
Spike rush.
Omen, we will find your answer. You will not be this way forever. I promise.
हमारी छत सेक्सी है तो हमारी छत पे खेलने आओ गाड़ी
ये बात रात कौन करके गया था
कौन कर गया
वो बंदा ही चूती है कह दे
Shadows traveling.
time to jump
अब बेरेटी यूज तो कर किधर है
Spike planted.
ओ मैं गुम ओ दल्ला ऊपर है समझ आ रही है कुछ ये क्या करता है
मैंने यूज किया हुआ
Last player standing.
cutting through Out of charges.
One enemy remaining.
Out of charges. Armor. Let's teleport and split these guys. Reloading.
ट्रैवल चल गया भाई।
अभी अफ्तारी करके फिर खाना खाने चला गया। अभी अफ्तारी की होगी, अभी फिर खाना खाने चला गया।
तो भाई भूख लगी मैं नहीं ज्यादा खा रहा हूँ।
और डेथ मैच लगाया करो, प्रैक्टिस तो हो। हाँ एम की प्रैक्टिस नहीं होती, एम की प्रैक्टिस नहीं होती। सही यार, अब एक डेथ मैच लगाओ यार, अब एक दूसरा लगा लो डेथ मैच।
Round in the half.
Take out Cypher's cameras. He's weak when he's blind.
Reload.
मैं बिल्कुल जीत हूँ, बस आज एक दोस्त ने धोखा दे दिया।
Let's start this party.
हाय
Time to hunt.
एक लड़की के पीछे।
Who's next?
वाहियात किस्म में जबके रहने की आदत पड़ती है और इसकी रीजन ये जो ड्रामे देखता है ना। हट्टा भाई, अब आर्टिकल राजी का सीजन देख। नहीं वो तूने अब लगाया है, जिनकी बात मैंने किया वो तुझे पता है यार।
भाई ये नजूमी बैठा है हमारे साथ।
Cutting through.
आंटी यूज करनी है इनकी। आई नहीं आऊँ।
Switching sides. Match point.
ये कौन सा लगा है? वो 100 है, 100 है।
यार मेरी एबिलिटी भी पूरी होने दे रहे मैं आंटी।
Time to hunt.
Reloading.
Hawk out. Enemy spotted A. Driftwalk is dead.
तू अपना ही दुश्मन रिजवान है। अपना दुश्मन ही तेरे इतने मीठी बड़ी
One enemy remaining.
Hawk out. Blinded.
कैंप नहीं करे बंदा हमारे।
नीला बच्चा को स्पाइक प्लांटी का आप होना
Player standing.
कैंप करके बैठा टाइम आया होना चाहिए था।
नहीं बंदा हमारे। मैं कर दे पिछला।
मेरे मखना
ये अगले को मौका मिला। बाहर जाओ मेरे जान लाभ कर ला।
कल जीत गए।
वन
The wheels shift in our favor.
Reload.
यार मेरी एबिलिटी पूरी कर रहे यार, मैंने आंटी
to jump. Bullseye. My ult is ready.
यार काश मेरी ऑल्ट रेडी होती यार, मैं चूर फाड़ देता सारा।
Last player standing.
क्या आपने स्लाइड में जाना था सर?
Defenders win.
पता ना आपको?
हाँ जी हाँ।
कस्टम खेलते हैं यार।
डेथ मैच लगाओ। ओए ये जूसा जो भी कहते हैं उसको, क्या कहते हैं उसको? हाँ
एक्सकलेशन एक्सकलेशन रिजवान
Match found.
शादी करके चल जाना।
और नहीं आ सकते मेरी जान पे तो क्या नहीं आ सकते?
वजह
इतनी चूतियों वाली बात कर रहा है तुझे अभी रात बताया क्या क्यों नहीं आ सकते? वजह
आप ऐसा करना ना, खुली पकड़ना दोबारा।
हाँ 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 जी सही सही फरमा रहे हैं आप। हेलो
खेल लेते हैं।
मिड में
इसका स्कोप नहीं होता, इससे भी फायर ही होता है।
ये शॉटगन का स्कोप का
मुझे नहीं पता था शॉटगन, मैंने देखा नहीं। वो
Fight.
मिड से आवाज
मेरे सामने कौन है? प्यारी लग रही है।
मैं बोला मिड से आवाज आई और कोई मिड में नहीं है।
अबे भाई मिड से वासी तो मिड में गया ही क्यों?
Sova's dead.
किधर है? अब बंदा ही नहीं लग रहा।
नहीं बंदे लब करते हैं।
वो मरी जा रहे हैं।
अल्लाह बेई
मैं दफा हो गया।
मादर शुक्र वही वहीं से जिंदा कर दी इन्होंने।
ओए
Reloading.
Here.
To remain up and ready to go. Yeah, it was all depending on where Phase 5 goes. If it goes onto the city, teams are going to commit to it. If it doesn't, things are going to start getting very, very dicey for a lot of these squads.
At the end of the day, this is the calm before the storm, Max, right?
Yep.
All of these teams are just hoping and praying that the circle in some way favors them. If you're in the center of the city, you're hoping that it shifts and centralizes towards the city, and at the end of the day, all hell is going to break loose. If it shifts over towards Reject, they're going to be laughing, but they're going to have 5, 6, 7 teams heading in their direction. That's why I love DS Gaming's position, because they're at a firing line while still getting information on that said firing line as the circle shifts down south. No. And they've been debated to all high hell. There is still the southern part of Yasnaya, but that is all field outside of it.
And this is taking me down memory lane. This reminds me of the clutch play from Jonathan, if you remember back in PMW.
Yes, I do.
Exact circle, man. Was might see something similar from Zeus. We'll have to wait and see.
Good.
Oh, teams are going to have to commit, and you said it. It was the calm before the storm. Now you need to weather the storm. That is what we're going to be hoping to see from all of these teams. Teams that have to cross over the road is going to be I8. DS Gaming going to have to do similar, but same for Valdez, A1, NASA, and even Blacklist International. But DS Gaming already committed in. They moved inside the compound, but crossing that road is not going to be easy. But it seemed like teams like Yala and Geek Fam are not focused on the road. They're focused more on the teams down south of their location, which is a little bit unusual from what I was expecting in this.
Man, this is crazy inside the city. You have 6, 7 teams just hoping and praying that they don't get caught out, trying to utilize as many of the windows as they can to keep themselves protected and get as much information. You have A1 just full sending on towards the northern edge of the circle, while I8, 2, 3 players up left just use them down, so Crypto Blade and Johnny hopefully going to be able to spot out A1.
They trying to stop down A1 currently. Valdez and NASA and Blacklist International, they're just wrapping around, and same for Reject. They just want nothing to do, and understandably so. Who would want to get involved in the Yasna Poliana fight up north? Nobody, unfortunately, but teams that are committed there already will have to bite the bullet and deal with the repercussions of such a rotation and such a spot in the first place. Nade still back and forth, the mollies. What a shot from Frankie, by the way. It's a sinister. A1 thinking, how are we going to execute this one? Because this is some of the hardest rotations to pull in the entire game in competitive. And if you want to make it work out, not only must you have great synergy and also great gunplay, you must have an insane amount of utility to just even cross that road in the first place.
It's good rotation from Valdez. It's low-key worked out for the most part. Reject as a full team weren't really there to protect that area, and that's allowed them to be taken out. Valdez have the field in their control. Blacklist are getting picked apart one by one, and down they go in the ashes of the field of Yasnaya in 12th spot.
Yep, see you later, Alligator. Blacklist International out in 12th. 11 teams still remain, and which is pretty much expected when you have so many compounds and buildings to play from. But Johnny with the M249 gets GE out of the game. We'll try and confirm it as Lamborghini from behind that window, waiting to maybe use his team as a bait. Does actually strike at the opportune time, but Johnny will still be able to make it out with just a few HP remaining, and he still has a first aid, so it is not over for you, my friend. But Xavier are slowly but surely wrapping around, but not striking just yet. They're taking it pretty slow. What a nade onto Johnny. He's got to move out, but he doesn't have the time to do so. No time to respond, and that's going to be Rabbiz going in and confirming that kill as Xavier. It was looking pretty tricky, but they back up as a 3-man. They have a chance to go pretty far.
Really good from Xavier. The risk
circle though.
Controlling side of the circle as it does shift over and towards the northeast. Exactly the same finish as we had in towards the PMWL, which was sort of solo win come out from Jonathan of TSM back in the day. But this is a different time, and you said could Zeus pull it off? It could be the case, because I think Godless is the last player standing.
Yeah, different time, different generation. Before it was Naruto in PMWL, now it's Naruto Shippuden in PMWI. We just changed the absolute game. Everything changes. A1 made it over to the wall. We say it many times when you're behind those walls. One nade and you're donezo, but seem like the utility has already been traded effectively and heavily by a lot of these teams. But this is a big spread from Na'Vi, and I would say right now it might be just best for you to regroup back in one singular building, because you know that full teams, full 4-man squads are going to knock on your door and tear it down instantly.
Knocking on heaven's door, whether it's a nade, whether it's a gun, whether it's just a full squad bodying through these buildings. Valis just in through the fields are trying to drive their Teslas through, but I don't know how many he's going to survive. That's 1 down, 2 down. Gooey left on his own.
Unfortunately for Valdez, they tried to make that rotate work out. They tried to avoid the fight, but unfortunately that came to bite them later on down the line. End of Valdez as they get eliminated in 9th. Now 8 teams remain, and all hell has broken loose in Pyram. As you said earlier, all the teams are now struggling. Zeus was actually able to make it outside of the fields of Yasnaya, inside the compound itself.
Wow.
But everyone's getting on top of each another. There's also such verticality. You have to keep in mind that teams will try and just occupy as a 3 or even a 4-man squad inside of these buildings, inside of these apartments. It's just so hard to play with. Yala got some great control, but Na'Vi did exactly what I said to him. I love that. They regrouped in that compound, in that one building. Same for Geek Fam. I'm loving how those 2 teams are currently playing. Now they're hoping to have the circle come their way, as NASA unfortunately bite the bullet and get taken out in 8th.
Xavier have had such a great game so far.
So good.
4 kills, up as a full squad. They've been on the outside of the circle, but they've made this so confidently inside these buildings. I just cannot fault it at all. A1 are going to be their next challenge to the north on the outside of the wall. Nades are being fired up by Tixie, being aware that DRS is close by on the other side of the wall. They're being covered for the time being.
Yeah, DRS, gotta be careful while you're playing this one. Prone to utility damage.
Boom.
Ante gets naded up by Rabbis of Geek Xavier. Love to see that, but we said it right, those walls are just a double-edged sword. If teams know you're there, you're done. And that's exactly what happened to Dante. Dante might get put back up on his 2 feet by 6ix9ine if he does get a little bit closer. But if 6ix9ine gets up, he could be prone to taking some headshots against himself and instantly going down. Xavier is still taking full control of that one building. Now you have 4 teams. Yala, Xavier, Geek Fam, and Na'Vi. They're looking so confident, but the circle over to Na'Vi right on top of their building. Now the waiting game for Na'Vi starts. You just got to make sure no teams make it nowhere near close of your building.
Well, can they deal with all of the pressure that's going to be dealt upon them, or can they just survive? Because all the other teams are probably going to take each other out on the incoming area of the circle. Yala has 3 players up. Godless from Zeus, just hoping that nobody spots him. The 2 players from A1 snaking across the wall. The Xavier, they know that they're there.
They don't know. They see the smoke coming on the right side. They're trying to pre-fire. Dante is going to be instantly taking a really big beating.
Nice.
But 6ix9ine is still there to keep the hope alive for the Bangladesh team of A1. Another play comes on out, but that's going to be it for A1. A lot of kills over to Deek Xavier. They're absolutely shredding the competition on this game, up to already 6 kills. But they're looking for more. They are hungry for blood, and they want sustenance on this game.
Yeah, that has a player knocked out. Geek Fam also going to be another team that's going to be looking to rack up the kills already on 6, as we are getting a Yasnaya finish inside the buildings, either side of the road.
Na'Vi already up to 2.3k damage, and they are looking to increase that a huge amount. They want the 3k point.
Oh no!
Once again, but no, Rapids comes from behind, and he ruins everything for Na'Vi. You must be kidding me. How are you all in one position? You're going to get denied that game so quickly. Meku is trying to keep the hope alive for the Russian team, trying to drop on down. The Xavier still have Lamborghini, but he's nowhere to be seen currently. The molly comes on through. Rabbis have to go into another building, but Na'Vi are getting picked up. Matic and Tixie could still be brought back into this game, but it was looking so good, but everything went wrong at the snap of a finger.
Oh no, he's going for the revive. It could work out. Great play by Meku, by the way. He actually jumped out the window a higher floor and went down in the bottom, but Rabbis is there.
Oh, he's trying to pre-fire it, and he gets put down. What a play from Meku, able to potentially get his 2 teammates back on their feet if they can make it happen. This is still Na'Vi's game to win. 11 kills and looking to get so much more, but Lamborghini is not going to try and go for the kill. He's going for the raise, as Zeus do get taken out in 4th. Only 3 teams remain, and Geek Fam saw all of this unfold in front of their very eyes, and they're going to be third party in this fight the moment all hell breaks loose.
Meku's actually gone on the outside of the building, so is Tixie. What they could do is they could wait for Geek Fam, take down the Xavier, and then Na'Vi could pick apart Geek Fam.
A double win for Na'Vi today would be huge. We'll see if they can bring it home. Geek Fam, got to be careful. And you got now a few seconds, 10 seconds left, and you're going to have to jump on over. They got they got a lot of smokes. I do not feel okay. Snoop Dogg would be really happy about that one. Going to still have to jump on over. Hopefully not going to be spotted out by Lamborghini. He's going to be playing on the more higher ground position. As Na'Vi actually pushed himself out of the building itself. They're actually towards the walls inside. I love that play, actually. It's so good. They're leaving Xavier fight versus Geek Fam. They're just going to be picking up the pieces after.
Exactly. They're just waiting. They're holding out. They're thinking one step ahead of their opponents. That spread as well, covering all angles. They have it covered, but can they deal with the remaining 5 players around them? Looking for the third-person perspective, being aware that QB is close by.
It could all go wrong for any of these teams right now. Whichever team takes the fight first could have all the shots coming their way, all the utility coming their way. QB, I think he knows maybe someone's kicking around the side. That's a great nade if he could just connect. Get some big damage onto Meku. Oh, Meku just barely escaped with his life. We'll have another first aid. That's his last first aid. You have no second chance now, Meku. You have to make this count, or you still have the chance of doing so.
Oh my god.
The circle's ending right on top of it. It's going to end we're going to go right to the last phase, and it's so rare for that to happen.
One nade from Meku.
Yes.
See the whole of Geek Fam go out. But the nades in return are putting Meku under pressure.
He still have 2 or 3 bandages, so Meku can heal a little bit more, get himself back to 75% health. And now there's this verticality that you have to take into account. He gets information with that third-person perspective. He heard Damru down below. He's going to jump. Oh, a little bit hard, actually. I think they heard him. Yeah, they hear the footsteps. They're going to try and hide inside. He could get double. They're so well aligned.
Oh, look at him! Look at him!
Strike. Oh, he's going to jump on over. There you go, the off angle. He's just so sneaky. But unfortunately, does not work out. They weren't prepared. And that is going to be Lamborghini down. Rabbi still up and ready to go for the Xavier, but he's just remaining undetected. As now Na'Vi see this as an opportunity to strike. There's still one player up top they do not seem aware of. QB's going to bite the bullet. Tiggsy instantly against off the first knock. Meku is there to back it up. And now they're down to 1 player onto the side of both Xavier and also for Geek Fam. As that's it, Geek Fam eliminated in third. What a stellar performance regardless of what happened in this game. But now there's only 1 player. Can the man make it happen once again? Can we see Lamborghini clutch it out after that heal off like we saw yesterday? Now they have their footsteps, and once again that verticality is going to be taken into account. There's one player want to drop down and try and pin them down. That's a shot. Rabbi gets it done. There's another player. You got to be careful. But Lamborghini is still up and keeping the hopes alive for Xavier. One bullet gets it again. It's down to a 1v1 Imperial between Tiggsy and Lamborghini. 2 clutch masters in their own regard in their respective region. But only one will come out on top.
Tiggsy has 5 first aids. Lamborghini only has 1. Lamborghini knows he has to go for the push.
Trying to pre-fire though. Tiggsy's got to be careful. Not easy to take that fight from down below.
Oh no.
Can he go for the res? No way. 10 seconds to go for the res. Should be just enough time. Tigsy's got himself a great weapon with a barrel too. Perfect weapon in the clutch to take a 1v2. This is intense. Don't get the info. Jumps on down. Sees. Has the information onto Tiggsy. Tiggsy trying to heal off 2 points of bandage. Actually a first aid. And that's all. That's all you're going to get. 75 HP. Take it or leave it. And that's going to be GG as a nice heal off comes out at the very end. They get himself back up as a 2-man crew. Na'Vi get taken out. And Xavier finally get himself a very well-deserved winner. Chicken dinner. What a game. That was one of the most intense matches I've seen in a long time in PUBG Mobile Esports. But at the end, Xavier did come out on top, and Lamborghini did such a good amount of job with Rabbis.
Like, let's be fair. The Xavier deserved that win just for how controlling they were working through the buildings of Yasnaya, right? We highlighted them even before they were in the mix of the top 3, right? They took out I8, they took out A1, they were so on point with every single move. But then you had Navi, the masters of the circle, right? They were up to 10 kills before we got into, I think, the top 3, top 4. They had like 2,300 damage at that point. How many lives did Lamborghini need, though? He got life after life after life. He jumped out the window to try and engage on Geek Fam. He got knocked down, but he wasn't confirmed. And because he wasn't confirmed, that allowed the revive to get pulled off. And in the end, he clutched it up to get the chicken dinner for his side. Unbelievable ending.
Hey, I don't know, maybe, I'm just saying, this is a speculation. I have a big theory right now. I believe in Illuminati and all that stuff, but maybe Lamborghini is a cat. He's got 9 lives, man. You can't take him down. I have no idea. Maybe the first cat pro player in PUBG Mobile. But we got some more highlights for you guys at home because I think we need a recap. We need a breather, Imperium. We need to check once again what happened in this game because that was one of the most intense finishes I've seen in a long while. And it started off relatively well. Really normal, actually. But then, like, starting to get pretty close to Yasnaya. A lot of team committed, and then that's where everything really broke down and teams just had to weather the storm.
Look, you know me, I hate when teams commit to a city too early, but I really got to give credit because I think the commitment into the city from all these teams was very, very heavily justified, and I think a lot of teams did, for the most part, position themselves accordingly. couple of small mistakes on maybe the timing of some of the rotations. Other than that, I think most teams realistically played the best that they could, but it was just like this moment by the Xavier, like 3 Navi players in one. Like,
why were they all there? Why were you all there?
Wild.
Just giving them all the kills on the silver platter, like, here you go, you take kills now, it is yours. Please, enjoy the gift, it is Christmas. But at the end, they're trying to make it work out. I still, as I said, a great performance coming out from Geek Fam. They knew they didn't really have to get involved head on into that fight, and they just took it relatively slow. And then they let everything happen in front of them. Unfortunately, did get 3rd place, which is still really good at the end of the day. But I gotta say, Na'Vi, we were talking about Xavier taking the win, but Na'Vi, we said so many plays beforehand that they should happen, and they pulled it off every time. They were spread, regroup. You have to move out of the fight to leave the 2 other teams fight each other. They did it, it worked out great. Hey, big heads up to Na'Vi, but especially congratulations to Xavier as they do take themselves the 3rd game of the day. But that's gonna be it. We're just about done with the day. 2 more games remain. We're gonna have 1 Miramar and 1 Erangel. So stick around for that, as we'll be back after this break and after this analyst segment.
COVID-19 vaccines are already helping millions of us get back to normality. But for many more, they are still out of reach. The vast majority of vaccines are going to wealthier countries, leaving the world's most vulnerable people behind. The COVAX initiative is working to right this wrong and ensure access to vaccines worldwide. This is not only the right thing to do, it is one of our best routes out of this global pandemic. As new variants continue to evolve, we know that as long as the virus is circulating somewhere, nowhere is safe. Gavi, through COVAX, is helping to provide vaccines at no cost to 92 lower-income countries. It has already delivered over 80 million vaccines worldwide. With your help, we can protect millions more people, ensure no one is left behind, and help bring an end to this pandemic.
We've got the OnePlus 9 Pro, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, this display is just out of this world.
Insane. It's got 65 watts of charging power.
The 9 series is next level.
Oh, 98, huh? अब ये भी आगे कहेगा मेरा माइक ऑफ।
PUBG Mobile World Invitational is powered by Gamers Without Borders and brought to you by OnePlus, the official smartphone provider. Nemo TV, the official streaming platform. PC, the official playout sponsor. We passed the halfway point here of our 3rd day of the PUBG Mobile World Invitational, and what a match it was indeed. Probably one of the hypest and craziest finishes we've had happen here in the entirety of PUBG Mobile as an esport. I'm Jason Captain, joined by Blank and Blen. I'm just throw it to you two right away. That was ridiculous of a finish. That was like the last 5 to 10 minutes of that match. I could watch again and 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 again.
Yeah. One more time. Again, yes, absolutely. 100% agree with you. That was exciting. I mean, we were yelling in the virtual green room, right? We were like, no way he's going to pull this one off. Na'Vi were in such a fantastic position to get a chicken dinner. The positioning was brilliant. And then I don't know how to pull it off. I think it was Rabbids, right? From he almost got all 4 of them, but the way they were able to come back again and again, even when things were looking grim for them, even when there was sandwich taking the chicken dinner away. But of course, Na'Vi will be coming out on top because of the 14 kill points they have, 26 in total, closely followed by the Vietnamese side. Zeus Esports actually doing a very good job staying alive till the very end. I think it was Godless there, being very sneaky and trying to get those placement points for his team. And Geek Fam, it was basically 3v3 v2 in that final circle, and somehow it was Dig Xavier with a 2-man squad who came out on top blank.
Yeah, I mean, the Xavier, they played it really well. I think that a lot of the credit has to go to Rabbids. If they don't get that 3k in the bottom of that building versus Na'Vi, then this doesn't occur. Because it caused Na'Vi not to be able to hold onto that building versus Geek Fam. They did make a really cool play, which was putting them between themselves as well as Geek Fam and Xavier. So, you know, they kind of had their own little bodyguards. But in the end, like, oh my god, those final pushes were just a little bit messy, and it's all down to Tixi. And with the high ground, obviously, Xavier is able to get that res off. The rest of the teams, though, DRS Gaming, 16 points as well. And then from there, it really dips. So these 5 top teams were the kings of Yasnaya Poliana, but everyone else down to 5 points and under after 6 points. 6th place, sorry.
I think it was a slight shame because there were 2 teams in particular that we're looking at. It was Zeus and it was Valdez because they kind of sat outside of Yasnaya, right? They actually played from a different position, realizing it probably wasn't going to center. But Valdez, unfortunately, didn't come out really with much to show for it with only the 5 points.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to be too like worried about it, right? They still have a pretty substantial lead overall. Although that being said, you know, Zeus and Na'Vi, they are slowly kind of chipping away at that lead. But then again, it's still quite a few games remaining. And for I just want to touch on DRS as well. Like they always drop towards Naya every single time. So the fact that they didn't really have to rotate much, I think they were around the Yasnaya area. Then they realized that, oh crap, the circle's actually going to be ending there. They're able to get a lot of kills, which is a good job from them. Bigatron getting grimmer and grimmer indeed, blank. 0 points overall, joining the likes of Myth and Fnatic Zombies. Rejects having a little bit of a rough time. And DS Gaming, kind of unfortunate. They were looking so very good in the previous game, but kind of fell flat on their angle here.
I think for Yasnaya Poliana finish, it's always really difficult in those final moments. I did like Valdez to play though. We've seen a few teams go play out. See them come together a lot quicker, and Zephyr, and they're able to do it today in one of the most hectic positions, one of the most chaotic positions as well. I was really happy with the way Na'Vi played.
I actually want to see their stats then. Maybe I can challenge production to see their stats up against EX and how things will wind out between the 2 teams. I think there was a part of it where we were talking about, I'm sorry if you just mentioned it before, where we saw Na'Vi be kind of pushed out of the building, but Na'Vi kind of did it willingly at the same time because DX charged through, and they tried to put, I think you said, blank DX between them and Geek Fam.
Yeah, 100%. I think Blair noticed this as well, and I think these stats say a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, 16 knockouts, just unfortunate they're not able to get a few more kills there. I feel the only mistake, I know we're praising them a lot, but the only mistake Na'Vi made where they had controlled compound of that building for such a long time, and they didn't keep an eye out on the potential of a player having snuck into the ground floor and listening to all the commotion and lying in wait. And that's exactly what Raptors did, right? And it kind of screwed everything. And even though they were able to bounce back from them and just lose to one player, in the end they weren't able to catch a chicken dinner. Because I felt at one point in time, Jason, that they're going to be probably cracking the 31 record they set just earlier. They could have been a 32, 33-point game for Na'Vi, but a small little mistake, and that's all it takes for the cookie to crumble.
Well, they still get a lot of points for themselves, and they were already pushed up, was it 8 placings after the first match of the day. They should have surpassed Zeus now, solidifying them at the moment as our second place team, but we'll see if they can catch up to Valdes, obviously, as we still have more games to come up today, and of course another 5 matches to happen tomorrow. But for you guys at home, we talked about what you can win when it comes to milestone. We talked about, you cheering for your country, cheering for your teams, but there's also another thing going on for you coming up in the very near future. You can support your teams or your players in particular with some sweet little cards going on within the game. You can support those off as well. Make sure you just keep checking it out and stay tuned for more details on that at a later date. But of a later date, we have a 4th match coming up, and we got a romantic date here with our 2 commentators of Maxman Imperium to serenade all of you at home of all the action going down.
Hello.
It's true. You know what? How this relation works is I'm the tsundere and Imperium is the senpai. That's how it's going to be working out over here. But Imperium, no slackers over here. We got some more games to come up. We got one Miramar, we got one Erangel. We're getting back into it, but of course, when we talk about Miramar, the thing we say all the time is BTR, where are you? We need to see a BTR win on this map. I think it's starting to get late for the comeback kings to actually pull off a comeback, you know?
That's true. It's getting past the point where how many chances should they be given? I still have hope for them, 110%. But I also want to touch upon a couple of positives that we've seen today. And I think DRS are a team that deserve a little bit more credit than they've been given up until now. Because in the first 3 games so far today, they've scored a total of 35 points. That's equaling their highest total day in the PMWI so far. So there's still 2 more games to go. The Nepal representatives have certainly stepped it up today, and I just really wanted to point that out. Maybe they've been outshined by the might of Navi, the strength of Zeus jumping up the second, and of course Valdes being Valdes, but I think DRS really deserve to be highlighted.
Yeah. We are checking our top player rankings currently. We don't see that graphic too often, so I think it's important to mention that we now see a player of Zeus in there. We're seeing Godless, which we haven't seen them too often. Digsy's going to be up there too with 5,082 damage and 25 kills total. But I've especially been impressed with Frankie. I think that
I have to.
He has been the individual player that has surprised me the most in this event. One of the players that surprised me the most. I cannot wait to see where this guy's going to be in 6 months or a year's time, because this was a team that we didn't know too much of coming into the gig. But they've put their name on the map in big ways. It's like in big capital letters. So I'm hoping to see these out here and the individual players go so further in the future.
Oh, not small, not medium, big. Yeah.
It's just big. You can put it in italic, like in big. Like I don't know what font you can take.
Would you do it in bold as well?
Probably. I'll put it in bold. Like everything you can add. Underline everything. But
text color.
Why are you gonna? I don't spend all my day on Microsoft, Word. I don't. Excel sheets maybe, but I salute you. It was seeing you, man. But the curse is back.
The Maxman curse hit you hard.
No, not the Maxman curse. That's the curse. He's doing it to himself.
Okay, he's doing it to himself. We also saw a little bit of an engagement with Fnatic Zombies and Myths coming out on top of that one for the time being. And another one is being played out. Return fire as Mexico steps it up and picks up a kill. Returned quite nicely.
He sounded like Mario there. Mexico. It's like, I don't know. Like, what's happening?
I was kind of inspired by that, but anyway. Yeah, good return to form. Plus another Myths player is knocked down, so it's just 2 players left up. And in this kind of high ground at Chimasera, where it's a certain mix of open and protection, you really got to navigate yourself quite carefully.
And people will say, let's go into Picardo. Picardo, talking about that position, BTR went finally back there. They used to drop in Puerto Pariso for the short period of time at the start of this event. And now, seem like for the 3rd game on Miramar for the World Invitational, they are going to go back as Ryzen is right on top of the roof of the arena, and he's just chilling there, hoping to give some information. And as they fight versus Zeus, Tooth and Nail are going into this fight. So far, we haven't seen anything eliminated, so still a chance. BTR can make it happen.
Yeah, they do have a player down, and it's only one player knocked down from Zeus, so without a confirmation, the body advantage, for the most part, still goes over to Zeus in that fight. Still, we hold on to Chumasera as these two teams are battling it out. Despite being at the lower part of the standings, still got to give a lot of respect to these teams for participating in these games, for helping to shine a light on the reason why we're all here, which is of course charity to help raise money for vaccinations, and just credit to Myth and Fanatics especially.
Leave no one behind. That is going to be the motto we live up to in this World Invitational. For good cause, and games for good cause too. It's like the best of both worlds. You've got some good gameplay and it's for good cause. Look at that. Look at that. Gamers
Everybody
unite.
wins.
Everybody wins, exactly. Except me, I have to cast with Imperium, but we're used to that by now. I think I cope pretty well.
Jesus Christ.
It's Sundari, man. I show appreciation and love by hating on you, okay? That's how it is. I'm really leaning into my role right now.
No, could be worse. I could be French, you know?
Hey, you know what? Fair enough. We got some sick baguettes over there, that's all I'll tell you. Though, Liquid is going to have some 6 shots coming his way, as he's going to be absolutely roasted to a crisp. And Liquid, one of the top fraggers, no, actually not one, the top fragger for BTR is instantly going to be losing his life. So now they're down to 2, and that is something that Zeus, you know, when they have a hold on the team, they don't let them go that easily. So, what's the game plan? Can't he see Ryzen? He must have seen his head top of the roof.
Whether or not he sees him, he's not really going to be specifically looking up there, right? Because he never expects to see someone up there. Now for Ryzen, I'm a little bit surprised that he's not crawling down to these. I know what you're thinking. You're like, we see him, but we know he's there. See, you know, you always got to think that, like, God is peeking up. An idea. But I'm a little bit surprised that Ryzen isn't like moving at least down to one side so that he's protected a little bit. But he has nothing. He hasn't been able to pick up a gun. Obviously, he hasn't been able to pick up anything. He is a bit of a...
What's Baby Godzilla doing?
he's like a roof tile up there. He's, you know... Oh, man. I feel sorry for him because, knowing that he can do nothing to help the rest of his team, it makes it even harder, right? You know, it's one thing trying to help your team, but it's so much worse when you can do absolutely nothing in this situation.
And he's got company now. He's got Buddy Godzilla next to him. I don't know where Zux is trying to play. Gonna jump on down. Yeah, he saw them on the right. He's switching side. Little hop over.
I know.
What the dog doing?
Oh my lord. Oh man. But Zeus will be able to move forward. Let's have a little bit of a talk on where other teams are over the map. DS Gaming looting up Minas Generalis. They're gonna have an easy rotation, which they already have a couple of players towards the north side of Lampedusa. The phase 1 circle was a little bit on towards the southeastern side of the map, but for the most part, a lot of strong areas to contend with. The fact that Los Leones is really a core part of this phase 1 is going to make it quite tricky, because no team is really going to want to actually rotate in there, so it's going to be kind of wrapping around the north, the south, the east, and west. The Xavier on the western edge, I8 are still looting up, but they have 1 or 2 players more by the southwestern side of the city, so they kind of have the anchor point.
Because what you would usually see is these teams drop in there, getting their loot, and because it's such a wide compound, they would instantly move. But because it's in a circle, they just remain in their quarters and don't
bit, yeah.
much. Except for A1, they have been a little bit more proactive than the rest of the bunch, like Xavier and even... Actually, I are pretty proactive themselves, going for a pretty big spread. I think they're just trying to widen up, just spread their wings and get a little bit more for themselves. But A1 actually taking control of the northern side to see the incoming teams, and one of those incoming teams actually is NASA Esports, and also Reject is very close and nearby of this current location. So they want to be, in terms of the information game, they are winning by a huge margin.
But it's also more important that they make more noise because they're more centralized in circle compared to Xavier and I8, right? So it is so important that A1 look to push teams back, such as Nasser, such as possibly Reject, and maybe the Xavier should they get closer to A1's area. I'm also liking the rotation that's being pulled out from Geek Fam. As per usual, it's kind of one of the massive strengths of Geek Fam is their ability to rotate so nicely into these circles, much quicker than the likes of Navi. They went into El Pozo, they're sweeping down, and they're going to take that main road outside of Picado.
Yeah, it's a good spot to enter from. I literally have no issue with that whatsoever, so hopefully they can just keep this one ramping up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What else? Extremely polite of you to say yes, sir. Wow.
Would you rather me say yes, ma'am? Yeah.
I mean, you just hey, that's fine. I was just like, wow, that's surprising. You know what? Hey, okay, are we gonna get a back-to-back city finish? Are we going to go for it? Los Leones right in the dead center of this circle. A lot of little hilltops to play from the east and especially on the south. I think that's where IA are currently going. Reject 2 to have information on what teams are doing inside the compound of Los Leones itself. I think that is a great spot. And Reject Scarlet instantly going to pull the trigger and make that rotation happen.
I really love this kind of circle, Max.
Good, yeah.
That high ground that's in between Puerto Paraiso and Los Leones provides a lot of valuable control, but because the circle doesn't often end around there too much, it may not be as familiar to these teams, but if IA can grab a hold of it, maybe a Reject, it could prove very worthwhile for them. Blacklist are going to be rotating in from the southeast. Myth are a little bit behind them, but that's because Myth are down to 2 players. Geek Fam going to have that kind of central shift. Still a good few kind of containers and smaller little compound areas on the outside of Los Leones to the west, which are very much accessible for Geek Fam, so I think they're going to head in that direction.
They are indeed going to be going in that direction. They actually have themselves a loot crate that just dropped from the sky, so they're going to be able to pick that one up and see if they're going to get the new weapon that got added or if they can get themselves an orb. In this kind of game, especially if you get access to a high ground, the orb would be great to have under control. As Godless, I believe, taken a few shots by Zuxi, and I think that they might expect this to be another team. They think BTR just completely left, so they just don't really want to take their shot.
They don't care, basically. They don't care.
They need to rotate. It's 9 circle. Is that worth it? Clearly not.
No, they weren't phased by those shots at all. Like, that's nothing against
Tis but a scratch.
moment, but it is but a scratch. But it's like Zeus were just like, yeah, we'll get the vehicle, we rotate in, doesn't matter if we take a couple of shots. Now they can focus on what's in front of them, which is right now Valdez, possibly A9. They're going in somewhat blind, so they need to try and grab a bit of information. A1 taking those pop shots towards Valdez, very valuable, and I8, the high ground is so good from them.
I'm loving it. From a lot of the teams that are playing the high ground, they are so set on what they want to try and how they want to perform this game, especially. I'm really intrigued with how this game is going to be ramping up for them. A lot of teams are going for the late rotation, but I think that they know a lot of teams are going to try and get themselves around the likes of, the hilltops, or potentially even the compound early on if you want. That is something Max, we could be seeing some teams trying to do.
Do you think Yala are rotating a little bit too late and a little bit too slowly into these circles, and maybe is
phase one
too safe?
It's phase one. It's what they do. They start phase one slow. They start ramping up after phase two, which it is still a little bit slow, but we saw that especially in the last Wrangle game where the later the circle is, the quicker they go and the more efficient they become. So it's only phase two, right? They're still going to be pretty slow, but they still understand how this terrain works. You said this circle's great, and you got the high ground stop. Pretty scary. They don't want to enter straight up north. They want to enter from a little bit of a more unorthodox position. So the east is a great option, but it takes a little bit more time to set up.
It's a good point you make. Navi now rotating in, coming through the La Bandita area. They're going to be obviously pretty well positioned depending on where this phase 3 does shift, which we're getting into very soon. DRS in a bit of action on the outside of the circle, but that's going to be a massive south shift, very much into the advantage point of Geek Fam, and plus with the Los Leones on kind of northern half of this phase 3, nobody really wants to go through Los Leones, so everybody's going to be going either to the west or the east of the city.
They're going to try and tiptoe their way around this one. It's very clearly what game plan you want to go for. Do you want to go YOLO, send into the buildings and of the compound? I would recommend them to not do so. You want to avoid the city at all costs. But playing on the outskirts of the city over to the west or to the south is extremely valuable. I think currently, actually, the most valuable position in this entire circle is where the Xavier currently stand. Not only are they going to be able to get intel to the center and down south, but also, if they wanted to, they could get information in Los Leones, which is not what they're doing. but they could have. And actually leaving, I find very surprising. I would have stuck there the entire way. I would have committed, but I think Xavier's got another plan in mind.
I thought GeekFam's position is actually the best spot to be in, right? Because they are still technically in the city, but they're very, very, very south edge of it. And they're kind of not going towards where everybody else is going in terms of I8, Blacklist, the Xavier, right? So they're avoiding all the action.
Just saw Snipes from GeekFam actually get himself a headshot with the Orm. So very on brand, you know, living up to his name, truly and surely. Valdez, someone's going to be knocking on their door. It's going to be Zeus. How are you guys doing? We shall become neighbors. Zeus, I like how Zeus started the breach and then they're like, nope, they go right up in the building. My apartment is apartment B33, so I'll get up there, but a little bit higher up. See if they can even make it to the rooftop if they really want, but utility's going to be traded a little bit between these squads. Shouldn't result in too much, but the thing is, if a team tries to move away from this location, now that's where things are going to be really sticky between Valdez and Zeus.
Like, all you have to do is ask each other for a cup of sugar, right? There's no need to throw grenades, guys. You can both coexist across the board. But I like the aggression from Zeus. They do have the body disadvantage, though, as they only have Ziol and Abli left standing. Once a revive is pulled out onto 6, Valdez have a 3-man play in their hands. Blacklist are being put under a decent bit of pressure inside this game, as GeekFam are waiting in the wings to punish both of these teams fighting in Los Leones.
And he got so much action, but you just saw actually one of the players just getting actually a huge knock, and he was down to what, 2-3 HP? What a play, trying to go for the first aid kit and will not be able to get it, and that is the game done for I8, unfortunately. So we'll see you guys into the next game out in 16th place. Not many, I believe they got 0 kills and they might have had 1. But regardless, it's not a lot of points coming their way, that's for sure. So we'll have to see I8 in the last game on Erangel. That's a fact. As Circle's about to shift once again. And they should be going away from Los Angeles, technically. But whoa. Oh, that's huge. That is the biggest upset you could have hoped for. That is a hard shift and a half to Imperium. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Is this going to be another city Back to back, baby. PMWI West, eat your heart out. We've got it going as well. Anything you can do, we can do just as good, boys. Absolutely love it. You know, as I said in the last game, 2 games of the PMWI West were back-to-back city finishes. Seems like we're going to have it now. DS Gaming, full sending it from the east into the city. A1 are looking pretty, while Martin looks to hold on to Zeus.
That's a really strong angle Martin just tried to take for himself, and actually it will result in a kill coming out. Abeli, last player remaining, and he's going to try and go straight for the roof, which I love. I mean, you know the circle's coming your way. Stick to the roof, that's fine. And you know that if the rest of Valdez are going to try and push that, you can pick them potentially 1 by 1. And you're going to get pinned down, right? You're going to get anchored down into a really hard spot to hold on to. I think Abeli maybe flashed himself for a second there. But yeah, just hold on to the staircase, and no one in their right mind would push that. So Valdez are just going to avoid it as much as possible.
And I do get that, but Abeli could get third party by GeekFam, by maybe BTR, by DRS, right? That roof position does expose you out into the open air of what can be a toxic Los Leones, Miramar area. And man, I definitely respect what Abeli has done. Other teams that have moved in have been kind of DRS on the edge. DS have been the only team to massively commit for the time being, but Yala are getting there despite losing 2 players. It's powerful, and Jaman's to full send it in. Navi are kind of a little bit behind them, but they're trying to deal with Reject on the southeastern edge of the circle.
Yeah, a relatively big cluster of teams down southeast. You're going to have Navi, Reject, and also a few players of Yala, I do believe. One of those actually being knocked, so really Yala's not going to be really involved in getting a hands-down influence on this fight. Reject, if I were them, not a fight I would want to take. You're seeing Navi, you can go to the west of your current location. I think that would be one of the best. Go towards the water silos, or just silos. I don't know what they put in there. They put stuff, I don't know. Is it water?
It's water.
Is it water?
Yeah.
Go there then. Go to the water, water.
We're in a desert, man. You need many water silos to try and keep everybody parched.
I do think that water is pretty important. You know, H2O, Lens in class, pretty cool. What a bottle of water? It's Tuesday, isn't it? No, okay, it's not even Tuesday, but whatever. Now we're going to try and wrap around, take a little bit more control. We've got to be careful. Tixie is a little bit... not actually a little bit. He's very far in a distance. I'm skeptical of the amount of influence he can really have on this fight, but it seemed like he's into the buggy, ready to join up. He wants to have a big impact on this fight versus the Japanese team of Reject.
Nice.
Nades being traded up. right on top of Lapis. Huge chunkaroonie of damage, as Duodo is going to be really serving as the front line for the team. So Na'Vi just going to be lasering down those little ridge lines, trying to find maybe a sneaky headshot, but Tixi, that is the flank that we want to see, and they just completely pinned them down. There's no escape for Reject, but Fnatic Zombies, they see that. Oh, that is looking like a yummy bunch of kills. We want those points. Yoink! They're ours. Thank you so much. That was great doing business with you.
And I get why Tixi wrapped around. I really do get that, because one of the Reject players were knocked out. But unless you are sure it's you got to know that a third party is there, so you really can't overextend. Great awareness by Fnatic Zombies.
Let's go. Back-to-back city finish confirmed, ladies and gentlemen. You can post it on social media, because we are having one hell of a nutty day, that's for sure. That's how we're going to begin with this one. There's the big building in the center. Actually, if you can play and synergize really well, and if Valdez take control of it, they will have control of 40% of the circle. Could be Valdez if they take that one building right now.
By the way, let's get one thing straight. This is not a good city for it to end on, because there's not really...
Is there a good city to end on?
Yasnaya has a lot of core buildings, right? We saw Navi hold on to, like, fantastic street 3-stack buildings. Not really the same in Los Leones, right? It's a lot more open than you actually think. The ruins of the torn down buildings from the wars in the past have definitely not made it easy for these teams to control the Miramar terrain.
This is the tipping point. This is where the teams are going to slowly but surely start whittling down, and we're going to be losing them by the buckets. A1 still got Dante, Jax. Rez could be relatively hard to pull off, so I would not recommend that to really come through. But at least most of the teams are currently in there. Yala have yet to still push a few extra meters. They're going to make it happen. Lamborghini taking some good shots, but DS. Now that's the thing. You take any fire and try and peek out the window. Another team has the angle. Peeking is just extremely risky and almost illegal right now. You want to make sure that if you take the shot, you get it in 2 seconds tops, and then you instantly go back and hide it.
Big brain rotation for Navi. Look at them on towards the northeastern side. Out of sight, out of mind. Well, the Xavier, DS, Fnatic Zombies, Nasser, A1, and Yala all fight amongst themselves. And then looking on over towards the southwestern side, you have Valdez trying to hold on to Geek Fan Myth. And not quite sure who else that is. I think it was the last player of Blacklist International. Either way, this is crazy in Los Leones.
This is the moment where gear second is not enough. You need to go gear third, even gear fourth, because this is not going to be a fun one for a lot of these teams and players. Though BTR, completely undetected. No teams is paying very close attention to their current location. There's no one currently in the northern side except for BTR and Na'Vi. All the teams are locked on top of each other. If you dare move, 3 teams are going to laser you down instantly, and there's no escape. So, unfortunately, when you're talking about repositioning, almost impossible in the current landscape of this game.
This being put under pressure, Key.
Oh, nice.
Bam! Are going to get the better of DRS. Down they go in 13th place. Although the Molotovs are burning, the teammates at Geek Fam were there to hold on, and resistance is futile, as Valdez are still going to continue to wait. Myths are taken out in the next circle, as once again continued, and Navi are inside in a controlling position.
How do they do it? How do they do it? I don't know. It's a question that we'll have answered hopefully in the near future. But these guys got himself a 3-man control on this building. They're so far centralized into the circle itself. DS Gaming trying to also be a little bit more proactive in their own position, trying to reposition into the circle, which they were able to do. But now all the teams are going to be chasing right after them. It's a race for the finish. But so far it's going to be Fnatic Zombies the closest to DS Gaming, while dxavier is trying to wrap around a little bit more central towards the circle, trying to avoid this entire skirmish. And for dxavier, it does seem like it's working out. Are we going to have another finish between Na'Vi and dxavier? It is heavily possible from what I'm seeing. Nasa trying to move into. Smoke Raider is going to start to get used up. The utility is going to have to get popped out. The A1 onto the side. Can't really get the intel onto NASA. Miracle. There you go. That's... Whoa, okay, Geek Fam. You guys got to chill out for a second. Everyone gets destroyed. NASA seem a little bit more prepared, apparently. And Geek Fam are going to get eliminated instantly. They tried to full send it over the road, and nothing came of it. That drive-by just had a complete opposite effect. What a nade. Oh, that's a big nade actually coming out. What a play from Rabbis. And Miracle, Hamzy are both going to be biting the bullet, or biting the nade, should I say. Nabo Gonna have to try and cross over. Naba and Moomin could potentially get the res on their teammate, but there you go, you peek over the wall, another team is gonna be able to find that off angle. That's Lamborghini joining into the kill feed once more. Well, A1 is just looking at happen from a distance and waiting for the opportune time to strike. Things are getting dicey. Imperium is gone. He was too much pressure for Imperium. He'll be back eventually, that's for sure. More nades getting exchanged back and forth, but still Na'Vi into the circle itself. They're high up north, they're having a real good old time. And while Valdez is getting closer and closer to BTR, there's a fight for the north currently between 3 teams. There's a 3-way fight. As though the feet's going to be actually going over underneath that car. They couldn't get the shots. NASA going to have to go for the full send it, trying to cross over one by one. Only movement now remains for NASA Esports. And without any utility, without any smokes, it's almost impossible to make happen. And unfortunately, that's exactly what comes to fruition as dfdfd currently up to 8 kills. And they get another pop-off city finish right here. And they're going to try and push it up to 11. A1 still up to 3 also, relatively spread. Jack's nowhere near, both downtown 6-9. Fnatic Zombies just waiting in the wings, waiting up top of that building. Waiting for the circle. Everyone's waiting for the circle. That's going to be the go-to signal. Where does it go? Just in a few. And it actually goes back towards the position of both Na'Vi and I believe that's DS Gaming to enter the circle. So Na'Vi and DS Gaming, the 2 teams to beat, the 2 teams to take down. As Imperium is back with us. You don't want to miss this city finish. Imperium.
Yeah, I just have to try and load the feed. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
No worries, they'll be back with us. But I can tell you it's a bang of a game. You do not want to miss it. So get it back up ASAP, Imperium. Otherwise, you're going to be really disappointed. Fnatic Zombies right on top. A1 know they're going to have to push out, and Fnatic Zombies. Only one team will come out between these 2 teams. Who will it be? I have no idea, but A1 will not have the high ground advantage. And the smoker is going to slowly but surely get put together by Fnatic Zombies. Jax is going to be the first one to make the race, and he actually makes it to the other side. Makes it to the building. That one smoke is so valuable. And all of A1 makes it out unscathed. That's a 3-man team cross. That was clutch.
What the hell has happened? Phase 7 and we still have 8 teams, 22 players. DS Gaming are still in the mix. Navi are up in the north. They are in the circle. Valdez are close by as RX Jax does get a knock on the powerful. Actually, a kill as Yala are out.
Yep, Yala tried to enter through the east, unfortunately, to no avail. No rest for the wicked. No rest for all of these teams in the city finish. You made it this far. That is already huge, but now you've got to push yourself to your limits. Great nade onto Abu. Dante also able to join up into the kill feed. A1 are just shredding it with dfdfd. These teams are just taking so much control and allowing no teams to have a breathing moment.
Xavier so good in these city finishes, up as a full squad as well. Inside this phase 7, so looking very healthy as they hold onto the Ivan. Unfortunately, Frankie misses those shots, but can the rest of the team shine through?
Oh, he misses it. That's going to be the full-on send it for dfdfd. They pull the signal, they pull the trigger, and that's going to be it for Fnatic Zombies. Out in 7. 6 teams now are still up and ready to go. But dfdfd, what an aggressive team. I'm just loving this team from the start. From day one, they have just been impressing me time and time again, especially Frankie. Now, they still got a lot more fight coming their way, especially Valdez. That is the next team on their radar that they need to take down Imperium.
Frankie goes to Hollywood, more like Frankie goes to Los Leones and slays the beasts around them. But A1 going to be going up against DS Gaming. DS from South Korea. They have the buildings in their control, and A1, they know they're going out in the open, and they can get third party, fourth party the second they step out.
The circle actually went over to Na'Vi again, on top of the road, so they can just stay there. Kitsune currently on the rooftop. This could be another huge game for Na'Vi and dfdfd if they play their cards correctly.
How has BTR been able to stay alive, right? They got 2 players down at the start of the game. They've just been untouched, unfazed as they survived until the end of this game. 27.5 minutes in, phase 8. 8 seconds up until that circle starts closing in. Valdez, they still have a full squad as well.
They were alone. No one was clearing out the northern side until Na'Vi and Valdez started to get involved, and now they got some company, but not really wanted company, I would say. Dante trying to get more information. Where are DS Gaming currently playing? You've got to push that one together, guys. Dante trying to push onto the side. And 6-9 Gaming trying to take the control versus Missile. Gets spread in time, but trying to move out of that fight. They all get clustered inside of this corridor. One more bullet connects, and now it's going to be DS Gaming down to 1 player. They push it down, and that is going to be 2 extra kills to the name of A1. There's still another player onto the other side of the building. Do you have to clear out? That is going to be Sporter, one of the top players from South Korea. He's just going to be avoiding detection of A1 for as long as possible.
Like I said, third parties were prevalent because Kitsune did get a knock. However, that revive will be played out. Valdis and BTR.
It's going to be Zux and Ryzen, though. Be careful. Jax has got the angle. If you push out, you know you're going to be taking so many shots coming your way. You're going to bite down some lead. One set. Dante, the blue zone, takes him down. A1 struggling with the blue, apparently. BTR down to 1. Where is he? We have no idea. Zuxy got spotted out. He's just cornered up. One nade. Could it be the clutch nade? He gets flashbanged away. It's just so close. What's happening? I have no idea. And the nade actually connects. That's going to be Concept going down. Valdis down to 2. We could get Concept back on, but Navia just fully committing to the rooftop. But the blue zone is slowly but surely going to push them over that ridge. They have to jump over and get the surprise jump shot onto Valdis.
Let's not forget about the Xavier. Let's not forget about the Xavier. He's through the windows.
Oh, the play!
Goes for a push, but it doesn't work out.
Oh, Zuxy, I see what you were doing there, pal, but unfortunately it does not come out as you were initially expecting, but still I respect the attempt. That's going to be BTR in 5th position. What a game. We said we wanted to see a strong performance from them, and they do make it happen. Top 5 for BTR on this Miramar game. The Kitsune will be taking a beating to the hands of Martin. Still one player remaining that's still on the roof. Are they going to go for the heal off? I don't know, but Valdis tried to push it out. They are out in 4th, and now only 3 teams remain. Is going to be Na'Vi with A1 and Dig Xavier. They push it out. They clear out Na'Vi, and Dig Xavier might just get himself a back-to-back city finish. Dig Xavier are playing out of their mind today, Imperium. What is going on for this team?
Xavier, man, they just do it, man. They just do it in the city finishes. They sweep from building to building. It doesn't matter if it's in the ruins or if it's in the crux of a city. They will control it like it's their own child. So strongly performed from them. And they waited, right? After they got the better of, I forget who it is now, but when they got one of their last team fights, they waited. They slowed down and they
zombies.
waited and let everybody else essentially take each other out. It came down to the last player of A1. Credit to him, he picked up a kill onto Navi, but going 1v4, just wasn't going to work out. To Xavier dominating.
We had a back-to-back city finish. Yes, Nai Paliano lost Leonis, which is, I think we can both agree, Imperium, one of the finishes which is so hard to remain consistent into. Like, no one is known as the city finish expert that dominates. This might be the first team that becomes the city expert. Back-to-back city finish, back-to-back first place, and not only that, they get an insane amount of kills. I didn't see exactly how many that was, but that's minimum double digits for Dig Xavier, as you can have a few little replays to go through, because we need to be taken through the motions again, because that was too much for my simple mind to really analyze and take in.
Like, this team, man, they shone already throughout the PMWI. Let's be fair. They very much came on our radar. But man, they've low-key started to just seep even further and further into my heart, into my mind with the way they perform. It is, we know it is so difficult to control a game when it's an urban finish. So hard. But man, I don't know how they do it so easy, but they just do it.
It's their communication and their synergy. You saw that fight versus Fnatic Zombies, right? They surrounded Fnatic Zombies. There was no escape. I hope we'll see in the replays very soon. I think we will. There you go. That's the one. They just, okay, we know where they are. 3, 2, 1. Autobots roll out, and everyone just rolled out instantly and took so much control. And there's no escape for Fnatic Zombies at that moment. And they were 4th. Before this game was 119 points. They were so close to Zeus in 2nd. I think that this game might just put Dig Xavier ahead of the pack and put himself in 2nd right behind Valdis, and they're looking to even try and close that gap.
Let's just say the leaderboard heating up. I think that's safe to say. Now, Valdis don't stop getting good results. So when it's all said and done, once they hold on to that cushion, they're laughing. All the other teams can fight amongst themselves.
You know what? It's too much action to take in for myself and Imperium. We need a big breather before we do dive into our 5th game on our angles. So with that said, we're going to head on over to a break, and we'll give it right over to the boys on the desk.
Emergencies always cause shortages because you have this immediate spike in demand, and the supply chain, the distribution, the roads, the warehousing, the trucks, and the information that drives it all gets broken. In a way, every emergency is a logistics and distribution problem. You have to reallocate resources rapidly, and you're doing it with very poor information because it's unfolding. Direct Relief's been around 72 years. I don't think anyone's seen where you have a simultaneous emergency everywhere. So the demand spike for medical material, PPE and ventilators and masks and gloves and gowns and goggles expands overnight. Direct Relief, we said the best thing we can do is put these philanthropic resources toward health workers that rely heavily on the support of groups like ours, while also backstopping the hospitals because they're in a crisis of kind of historic proportions. We do work in 100 countries a year. We work in all 50 states on an ongoing basis. You want to save everyone you can and prevent as many people from falling sick and needing severe help. So that's how Direct Relief has approached it. This is one that is an equal opportunity threat to everybody. So we're trying to do our best in a fair, equitable, thoughtful way, doing whatever we can to get help to people where they need it, when they need it, as fast and efficient as it can be done.
We've got the OnePlus 9 Pro, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, this display is just out of this world.
Insane. It's got 65 watts of charging power.
The 9 series is next level.
The PUBG Mobile World Invitational is powered by Games Without Borders and is brought to you by OnePlus, the official smartphone provider, Nemo TV, the official streaming platform, and STC, the official playout sponsor. Well, we are about to head into our final match of our third day here at the PUBG Mobile World Invitational. But before we can get to that, we need to break down the crazy finish yet again. It seems like cities are in the stars here for our games today, as we've had 2 city finishes back to back. I think Imperium and Maxman need to go definitely take that break, get a drink, and just collect their thoughts after the craziness that consistently keeps happening today. And again, Xavier able to take themselves the chicken dinner and get themselves even more points, but we've seen a lot of return teams in these final zones, Blank.
We have, yeah. Sorry, Jason, it took me a while to answer that. I've been actually at the Lost and Found collecting my thoughts because that game was absolutely insanity. I really enjoyed it. You know, we had another city finish there, which is just beautiful to see. I think Na'Vi, again, there playing the rooftops. It's a good position to be, but like at the end of the day, there's a lot of variables that happen there. But regardless, Valdez once again still towards the top of the table. And I think that's one of the most important things for me right now. 15 points, but blur. How can we ignore the Xavier?
I know, back to back. And listen, I'm usually a fan of like final water circles and bridge circles, but if you're going to be seeing action like what we witnessed in the previous 2 games, just bring me all the urban warfare, right? It's a fantastic showing coming from the Xavier. We also had Na'Vi as well. You know, again, it looked like, you know, I had a sense of deja vu all over again. I'm like, Na'Vi, the Xavier, final circles shrinking in, all the buildings and all of that. But they did a fantastic job. 13 kills, the only team to crack the double-digit barrier as well with 28 points. They are definitely going to be catapulting themselves straight up the overall tally. We can talk about it later on, obviously. A1 Esports as well had a great game overall, although kind of a low fragging affair coming out from them. But Flawless Esports, like you mentioned, Blank, like at this point, they don't need to do anything too crazy. They don't need to get like a 20, 30 point game. As long as they keep his 10, 12 points every single game, that's more than enough for them to just solidify the first place position and really not have to worry about it. But one team we do have to touch upon, Bigatron, a little bit of a resurgence. Could it be just a flash in the pan, but it's nice to see them at least in the top 5 for a change.
Yeah, I think we're used to seeing them somewhere between like 7th and 16th at the moment, at least over the course of today. And it is nice to see them bounce back, but it came down to, I believe, Zuxi just trying to survive as long as possible to fight, I think, against Valdez, if I'm not mistaken, towards the final seconds of that match. Able to get them the 9 points. Let's take a look at the second page and see some other teams out there and how many points they've gotten, because we don't see GeekFam here. They were the 3rd place team off the last match. They're actually going to be coming in at 10th place. A couple other names. Zeus, again, I mean, just not to harsh on them too much, they seem to, again, either feast or famine for this team, do well, or unfortunately not live up to what we see they can do.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's just rough to look at for this poor team at the moment, because they're just not getting those points that I expect them to get every single time. I think for me, another team like that is Blacklist International. 4 points total. I think we saw them not have the greatest of days. Day 1, second day they come back into it, and today again it's much the same. Reject down in 16th place at times, but Zeus Esports, yeah, it's a rough one, and I think that Valdez has what Zeus don't have at the moment, is that they just have that ability to, yes, get those chicken dinners, yes, get those second places, but also pull out a fairly decent game. Because yes, the points aren't super impressive from game to game, but as an overall, getting 12, 14 points every single time, that puts you on an absolute winning average.
Yeah, it adds up to be quite a bit here, and I think that's why we're going to be the #1 team, and I'm actually curious to see what their lead is in first place compared to second, but we'll check in with that after the final match does finish. What we are going to now focus on, though, is dxavier, and talk about their performance today compared to the performance over the last 2 days, because we've definitely seen the resurgence. We saw dxavier do, well, have a couple of good games, I'd say, in the very first day of this event, but day 2, they seem to have disappeared off the map. It seems like they got their compass out, and they've been able to use the sun to find the right direction to travel and find their way back here into day 3.
That's substantial. That's massive, right? Double the amount of damage compared to day 1 and day 2's average. Healing kind of pretty much the same, but the kills, right? That's almost 2x number of kills they averaged on the first couple of days here. Limited points as well. The main difference obviously going to be we still have 1 more day remaining, and obviously day 1 and day 2 being 10 games averaged out there, Jason. And as I said, day 1 was much better. Day 2 was very, very quiet. But if they continue on this trend here, if they can end the day on a very good note, especially considering it's going to be a Wrangle where we had the crazy game on Yasnaya, suddenly out of nowhere they might just be one of the favorites to at least challenge Valdez Esports, their neighbors in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, and I think they're, again, kind of making their name for themselves here on a global scale. Now, we wanted to focus on another team here before the next match does kick off. It was going to be Na'Vi, but actually I'm going to make the administrative decision here to change it up and not go from Na'Vi. We're going to go to Valdez instead and look at their average stats, because we've been talking so much here after that last match about their consistency over these 3 days so far, and I want to see how their stats have kind of worked themselves out over the course of the 3 days as well. Now, we did obviously talk, guys, about the big fall. I mean, it feels weird to say fall, considering they didn't really fall to anything bad, right? In terms of day 1 and day 2, when you look at the damage. But they've actually done better today than they did yesterday. I think it was around 800 damage average. They're up to 1,300 now. Not quite to the 2K we had before on day 1, but it's shown that they're not a flash in the pan. They can bounce back after day 2 after having a quote-unquote subpar performance for them, and still even do better.
Well, Jason, this is their overall average stats.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Sorry, I just thought you thought that this was their total ones. But yeah, 1,306 is good. It's good as a total. Over literally every single game is pretty insane. 464 healing. They don't heal too much, but they have enough to get through the fights. And 15.14 points per average is absolute insanity. So this is just the kind of points lead which will just put you right at the top. So let's put it this way: after 20 games, they're going to be sat on about 300 points if they continue this average. So really, really good stuff from them.
All right, well, we're about to kick off our next match. I want to remind you guys all at home, once again, we do have our milestone of looking to hit in terms of concurrent viewership. Make sure to tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone out there, scream it from your windows for everyone to tune in, but just be aware everywhere. Don't be a jerk and be too loud because people might be trying to sleep. We're going to bring our commentators who are hopefully awake and ready back from their break to bring us our final match here of our third day of the East Conference. We're going to bring Maxman and Imperium back once again here to cover the last match of the day.
Hey Jason, look, I'm ready. Okay, I needed a short breather after that one, I'm not gonna lie. That did hit pretty hard. I think my vocal cords are gone, potentially. So if we get another city finish, I think I will just instantaneously combust into flames. So hopefully not another one, and we have a somewhat normal circle this time, Imperium.
Nah, I kind of want to see a military island finish, because we haven't really had one yet.
Yeah.
We haven't really had one. We didn't have one even back in the PMPL or EMEA, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a while since I've cast a military island finish, and I also think it's a really big test for a lot of teams in terms of their ability to rotate. So let's see if that comes through. But for the final game of the day, Navi are just killing it. 77 points, the highest points secured in today's game so far in 4 games is a stonkingly good average, and they've got a chicken dinner with it. Like, you know, it is really such a big turnaround for the Russian representatives.
It's not just a jump in overall points and averages, it's a huge leap forward. It's insane how good they have been able to perform today. And I thought if other teams like Zeus or Na'Vi were not going to be able to get good result after good result, which they are known to be a little bit up and down, I thought Valdez would have a even bigger lead at the end of the day, showing how they were consistent, especially for the first 3 games of today, which they still do have. You know, they still have like a 70 point lead currently, so they're still looking extremely comfortable. But
yeah, they are.
If they stay on this kind of initial launch and stay on this in that direction, Xavier might be the one to take down the Kings. Not today, but tomorrow,
for sure.
There's a world where that happens.
Look, you know, teams like Navi and Xavier, like, look, they can't really control what results Valdez have, and they shouldn't even be caring about what results Valdez get. Be aware of it, but they shouldn't care. The only thing they should be worrying about, which is I think exactly what they're doing right now, is their own results, their own control, their own ability to extract as many points as they can from these games. And we're seeing that right here, Xavier with back-to-back chicken dinner across the last 2 games. Navi with the win as well. It speaks for itself, and Zeus have been overshadowed by those teams as well, because they've had a little bit of a shaky day themselves. Still good, still a high amount of points scored today, and they've got 37 in 4 games. But again, just that overshadowed means that they're going to have more to do. But unfortunately, it seems like we're going to have a bit of a rehost, Max. Feels bad, man.
The players are like, you know what, Max, man, Imperium, that was 2 city finishes back-to-back. We'll just give it a little bit more time, you know, to relax. And you know what, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But yeah, we're going to have a quick little rehost on this final game. But that is okay. We'll just take a little bit more time to get into the 5th and final game of the day. And you definitely do not want to miss that one, because it is going to be a good way for us to know and exactly look towards day 4 of this World Invitational event. And set up expectations for all of these teams, right? You want to see teams that are at the bottom, is there a chance for them to catch up? If so, what do they need to do? What do they need to change? And for the teams that are at the top, is can they hold on to the crown? Can they hold on to their throne and remain on top at the end of these 20 games that they're playing in the World Invitational? That is what we're looking for. At the end of this game, we're going to know what we can hope to see in the final day to see who will be on the top 3 at the end.
Yeah, look, for the teams down in the bottom, part of the reason why they're down in the bottom is maybe because they haven't broken the mold. They haven't really changed things up as heavily as other teams around them. So they've kind of got to go into day number 4, the final day, and just mix things up a little bit. Maybe go a bit more aggressively, maybe push more towards the center of the circle. And look, even possibly target a team or 2, because, you know, that's the name of the game sometimes. You got to focus your attentions in the right way. For the teams up at the top, just stick to your own game. I feel like there's nothing that they need to really change, because they're at a really stable point in this tournament. Bar maybe Zeus, who need to become a bit more consistent. And one thing to kind of point out, at least in terms of getting to this final game of the day, Max. Navi has gotten 58 points in the 2 Wrangle games today. 58 in the 2 Wrangle games. That is a massive amount for a Wrangle alone. When you've got 3 more Wrangle games tomorrow and this final one again, that really puts him even in a better light to challenge Xavier, of course, for that second spot and maybe possibly get up to Val's point in the standings and overtake first in the final day.
And especially intrigued to see if Xavier are going to be able to pull off Yudu Gank, you know, back-to-back-to-back win. They got 2 so far. Maybe get himself a 3rd to close off day 3. That would be the best way to do so. But with that said, we're going to head on over to a very short break. We've got a really fun video for you guys at home to check out. And after that, we will be ready to jump into Game 5 of day 3 of the World Invitational East. So don't go anywhere.
Difference between PUBG and other games such as Free Fire is still the same battleground game. I think the PUBG more compatible, more strong. I mean, on for the strategies, on the visual, the quality of the graphic, and it's more like easy to understand the game, and yeah, it's more like realistic. Yeah, more realistic for PUBG within the Free Fire.
What makes PUBG different from other games is that it's more realistic.
My opinion, PUBG was different when other game was. PUBG was more competitive.
What makes PUBG Mobile different from other games is the tournaments on the esports level. It's always growing, and that's what is actually needed for the competitive teams to be participating in such
PUBG different from other games because by the nature of mobile games, FPS games cannot be explained in detail, but PUBG Mobile covers such details.
I think the playstyle and the features the game has. There is a lot of weapons, cars. Right now, there is the Tesla feature that it's very cool, and the innovation in the contents. I think that's the special and the difference in this game that make us play.
PUBG Mobile is different from other games because it covers all, like for playing for fun, competitive, streaming, enjoying the game, and you can also earn money from streams and stuff like that. So I think it's really good in this.
PUBG Mobile gets updated in a short time and it's getting better and better in a quick time, but not like the other mobile games. And for me it is the most enjoyable competitive game. That's why I like it the most.
Great to hear from all the players with that little bit of a speed session. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that at home. A lot of things were said. But we're again ready once again for our 5th and final game. Hopefully you know who we host. Cross my fingers, touch wood, all that good stuff. And there we go. As we said, we are now going to be having this final game to try and set expectations coming into tomorrow. Are there any teams here for you, Imperium, who would like to see, close it off with a banger game and get himself a win, or top 3 that even, I would say, desperately needed going into tomorrow?
Desperately need and kind of wanting are 2 different things. Obviously, when you're looking at the overall standings, I think Yala are probably a team that desperately need a win. They're slightly slipping down the chart, and they haven't really had the massive result, even across the whole PMWI, as much as they've surprised us in a good way, but they haven't really had that kind of whole all 4-man strong 2nd, 3rd place result, and I would really love to see the Saudi representatives pull that off in the final game of the day, because again, setting it up for tomorrow would give them a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum.
Yeah, like personally, I have one team that I very clearly, coming into this, want them to find good closure to this day 3, and that is going to be, in my eyes, Reject. They're currently with 90 points in 10th position, and they had a lot of top 3s and top 2s. I think they've got 4 or 5 coming their way throughout these 15 games. I think they could do great. But you know what? There's other teams who we're hoping to see do great, so we're going to have a quick little look at the overall rankings right now to know exactly what we're looking at and how we can see things moving forward after this 5th and final game of day 3 for this World Invitational for the Eastern region. Valda's still, we said it right, it's such a big lead. Even if tomorrow they do almost nothing, they could still be first at the end.
Yeah, exactly. All they need to do is just chill, get 5 to 10 points a game, and they are sorted. But we all know that they're going to go for the 15, 20-point games. Blacklist International in 6th place. I've said it throughout this PMWL. They need to start getting more kills. 42 kills compared to 52, 55, 53, 61 around them. That's just not enough. They cannot rely on the placement points alone. They have definitely surprised me and have a lot of love for Blacklist, but come on, find the fighter within you guys. Really release a bit of aggression.
That's the main issue that we have. They will take control late game, but they will not try and actually frag out and zone out teams around them, and that's the main issue that they struggle with. Have a great circle, that's great, but they need to try and push it to the next level. Now looking onto our second page, A1, they're just shy. Just shy of pushing it into our top 8 teams, and you will desperately want to see this team from Bangladesh make it up there. But they're very heavily followed up by the team from Japan and the Power in Reject Scarlet and DRS respectively. This could be any team onto this bottom page that could be up there. Of course, you're not going to be seeing the likes of Myth, NASA, or even Fnatic Zombies make it up. But other than that, IA and above, one good game, and they are back in a race, and they could be so high at the end of day 4, but they need to bring in some big points on this final game.
Yeah, I'm really glad they actually touched upon that, because I was just going to isolate it to kind of 16 points divided between 6 and 11, but you're dead right. 12th and 13th, they could easily, with that one massive result, get themselves up there. But the thing is, they haven't really shown it up until that point. We've seen a couple of sparkles from the likes of IA, lots of solid strength from BTR times, but where has that massive game been? It just hasn't been anywhere, and it's part of the reason why they're down at that point in the standings. Everything is to play for. It's the final game of the day, so end on a strong note.
Yeah, and on a strong note, we'll see exactly what's going to happen. I saw Sinister on Instagram. He was not happy with their drop being contested a little bit, I think, by BTR. They were a little bit mad, last Erangel game. So they're not too happy about that one. So maybe things are going to change a little bit with how BTR decide to go for their own split 2. Things are going to get relatively interesting, because we saw some teams just go in YOLO mode very clearly. We've seen some teams go super aggressive that we would not see before. I'm thinking of Fnatic Zombies, that, especially after yesterday, has been really starting to give it their all. And I think that's especially what they need if you want to have a long an impact and to catch up a little bit towards the end of the gig. But here we go. Plane path is going to be high in the sky, and it's going to be from the more southern eastern edge towards the northwest. So, not that bad. It's not the best, of course. If you have teams like dropping Yasnaya or Severny, which there are quite a few, you will have to or go for a secondary drop or pick up a car and try and drive as far as possible.
Yeah, DRS going to Yasnaya will probably have to drop around the kind of shelter area, grab a couple of vehicles and head on up. Blacklist side to go to Severny. It's not going to be too hard for them. If they wanted to, but see, here's the thing. Yeah, if they wanted to now, but I don't think they know this, they could technically go towards the Zarki area and then grab a couple of vehicles and go to Severny. But the fear is that DS often have gone to Zarki a couple of times, so they might be reluctant to not, to go so close to Zarki in case they get picked off by a team. So there is a level of unknownness about how they do fly out. Trying to get as much awareness when you exit that plane is important. And phase 1, it's a little bit normal. Available for a lot of these teams.
I would think the team just take normally how it would work out. It would not go towards the North Candice. You have hardship after hardship, which is possible. I mean, we had 2 city finishes back to back, so I'm not even going to go into the odds, man, because that should have not been possible last game. It still happened. We're having a few little shots coming out, I believe, with Reject. Got to be careful if that really comes to fruition. But on the right now screen, we're going to be seeing our top players currently. And Concept was in second place for the longest time with Martin. They were completely uncontested. Now Frankie's there, and I feel like I'll have to scream Frankie becoming One Piece in a sec if he takes first place, because he is slowly but surely climbing up there, and he is about to take the spot away from Martin.
It's possible, but it is Martin we're talking about. It's easier said than done. Let's see what he can pull off in this final game of the day. It was Reject getting a little bit of sweet revenge on Myth, by the way. They got a kill, I believe it was, they were both fighting for a vehicle, and the Reject Duello got there before and ran him over with the vehicle, as far as I know. So that's, again, sweet revenge from the last Erangel game. with this kind of circle, I'm really looking on who's going to grab control of the hillside above Ferry Pier. I think it's going to be a very important part of this game. You don't need to do it like super early in the game, but towards the kind of, you know, late stages of the Blue Zone of Phase 1 closing in / Phase 2, if you are able to grab a firm control and spread off that hillside, you're looking quite healthy into Phase 2 because you get a lot of information to the field to the north, you get information to Ferry Pier down south, and you also get awareness on teams traveling from the east.
I just think that Geek Fam are going to do the exact same rotation. You know that one game where they got himself the win into the fields versus Valdus? And Dig Xavi actually, they had also those top three with those three teams. I think they're going to do the exact same rotation. They got Damrude already in a relatively sturdy position. Then the entire team over there, and if it worked out last time, do it again. I have no issue with that from Geek Fam, and they have been some of the few teams to impress me how they play their Gatka spread and how they regroup, because this is an issue we had so many times. I remember when we were talking about, I believe it was Team Secret just a few events ago, how they would drop in Gatka fields and they would stay spread. Same for sometimes I think it happened to, for example, Nova Esports. So even some of the Chinese teams have that happen too.
Yeah, for sure.
Geek Fam, I don't see those issues. I don't see those weaknesses. They, boom, instant regroup, take a strong position, play around it properly. I'm loving it. Keep it going.
I was going to ask a question. I wonder what I8 are going to be doing, but it seems like they're going for a very early rotation towards the western bridge. I ain't doing. And I don't know.
The answer, but okay.
But I kind of really like the timing of their rotation. I've complimented on their rotation timing away from Military Island in the past. I think this is still a lot trickier with how the Phase 1 is, but I still have to respect that compared to a lot of other teams that drop in Military Island. I8 rotate extremely early.
Yeah, that's what we like to see coming out from them. Hopefully they'll not be the only one. I would like to see Blacklist International do something in similar fashion. Cross over the bridge over to the east of George Pole. That would be great, because you're not going to have to cross eventually, right? Or you do it early, or you just wait for the teams to start moving out, and then you then pull off your own rotation. I think that's something that's very by the book and that we can expect from Blacklist International for them to do. Other than that, really nothing out of the ordinary. We did have just two players actually did go out. We had one then for Myth. There was Broly actually losing his life. And another one, which is... Who's the other one? We're down to 62.
No, you're just missing the fact that the Xavier, unfortunately, only starting as a three-man team in this final game of the day. That's what has happened. It's okay, man. You just need to go to an eye specialist and get some glasses. But
weird you would say that. I'm going there in like a month, so that's.
Are you?
Yes, I am. No joke.
Cool. No, it's good because I know that you have kind of mentioned it to me in conversation that your eyesight is.
It's just my excuse for missing my shots. I just say, my eyes are messed up, but not really.
Fair enough. Now when we're gaming later on, I know what you're gonna be blaming when you miss your shots. It's okay. It's fine. I'll let you out of that.
I'm in danger. Who's going to be also in danger is going to be I8 as they just cross them on over. And one player leading the pack.
I like it.
Johnny. Yeah, that works out just fine. And they know there's been very small amount of bridge camps in these entire games. So they're just going to be cruising on forward, good towards where Johnny currently stands. So, yeah, I mean, it's never happened in the past, or at least very rarely. So they're just used to having no teams really holding on to that western bridge.
I will not be happy if they stay here, though. I think this specific area and the spread they have between the garage and this building here, where two of them are, is really not healthy. I would much prefer them to rotate a little bit more east and onto the compound that Sinister and the rest of the A1 team actually kind of dropped and looted. I feel like that would be much more of a core team compound to hold on to. A spread can work, but again, this kind of circle, you can easily have a player or two picked off when you have 3 or 4 teams around you.
That's a good course of action. Another McLaren. Still, I'm never going to let that go. I'm never going to let that go. I can't believe I was so unlucky.
Are you never going to give it up?
No, I'm not going to rickroll. That's a no. We talked about this. We talked about this.
Are you never going to turn around?
We sent you to the therapist so this wouldn't happen again. Okay?
Never.
I have to send you back.
Excuse me?
I'm going to send you in solitary, Imperium.
Greg Astley quotes are like your anime references, okay?
Not a quote, their song.
It's technically a quote, though. It's a lyric.
I'm gonna quote Beyonce. We're gonna sing Beyonce? Yeah, I'm gonna quote Beyonce. Like,
yeah, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. Anyway.
Okay.
I answered.
Someone spam. Press 1 in the chat if you guys want to replace Imperium and join me. I'll take anyone right now.
No.
They can't replace the man. It's too good to be changed. But anyways, central up. We got quite a few teams that are already taking control of some pretty central positions. You're gonna have the likes of Geek Fam. I'm looking at A1 Reject. Xavier already gonna be there. And a surprise actually. Xavier they sent it right in the middle, straight up, eyes on the prize. I love that from Xavier, but the circle is about to shift towards phase 2. There's a lot of water in place, so we could have a very unfortunate circle, depending on where it goes.
Like, I feel like that's too much of a commitment from Xavier and Geek Fam. Because look at that gap between A1 and, like, Valdez on the edge of circle. There's nobody else there. And I think you always have to leave a little bit of variable for a circle shift up north. Let's see where it goes. It's a little bit of a shift up north, but it's kind of northeast with still Military Island in play. Will Fnatic Zombie stay there? Will IH shift back down to the island? Either way, I still think IH should now go to where A1 dropped, but because it's phase 2, they've left it too late and they might get pinched apart by a few teams around them. I'm worried about it, but let's see what happens.
There's a realm of possibilities where Sovnovka is still possible.
It's possible.
I would not really lean into it too much. I don't think you should assume that will be the case unless you're already rotating late, which is the case for Fnatic Zombies. I mean, it's Fnatic Zombies. They always try to rotate as late as possible away from Sovnovka. But you said you weren't happy if they really dropped the Imperium. I think personally it's fine because you know Fnatic Zombies always rotate so late, and it is the bridge that makes the most sense to cross for Fnatic Zombies. So, hey, if you can have 4 kills that just come your way and you pick them up for free on a silver platter, I think that if that is at least a thought process they went for, I think that's great.
But look at Geek Fam, they just basically kind of pushed A1 out of that compound. Dante's the only one that's left in there. He chucks out a molly and nearly connects onto one of the Geek Fam players, but his position has been exposed. Now, it's not the worst thing in the world for Dante because the rest of the A1 team are actually on the hillside overlooking Geek Fam, so it could be a bit of a bait. However, the second they enter that building, there's really not much Dante can do other than maybe jump out, try and get to those containers down by the side, and let Sinister, Jax, and 6ix9ine do the rest of the work. Oh, no.
Oh, that molly was a lob of an L for Dante. That's exactly what I was going to say. That if you want to go to the side, that's great because exactly now the rest of your team can have a hands-down experience on this fight. Perfect. Dante, go to the more southern wing of this building, and then your team can join up, or they can just breach it. That works too. They got themselves a knock. You got the man advantage, full sended. That's what you love to see from A1. Taking a little bit slow. Geek Fam trying to extract himself away from that kind of overall ordeal, which is easier said than done. They're going to try and trade some utility back and forth to try and create even more breathing space for themselves, but
lovely play
I think it's
A1.
Not easy to do. Dante, there he goes, got a little bit of a wraparound. Sinister on top of the roof on the balcony itself, so he's going to be having even more intel on where Geek Fam currently play from. Taking it to the warehouse. There you go, gets up, and that's one. Damarud actually, really good pressure from Damarud. That actually stopped the flush from coming out onto Sanez. He does take a little bit more of a beating, down to 50%. He will get rezzed up, but now you got to think about it. A1, this is a 4v2. This is a fight you cannot afford to lose. Full send it. That nade looks big onto Sanez. Boom goes the dynamite and boom goes the nade. That's going to be another knock coming on through right after the res. And now Geek Fam is a 2v4. Beautiful. Can you take that fight for yourself? He gets completely jumped on, and there's only one player remaining. That's going to be Damarud. I'm going to see if the damn good players are going to come out from him once again. As he is just going to try and get himself to his teammate. Going to confirm the kill. Get every single kill you still can while you still have the chance to do so. And now he's just going to get pushed up. And with the M249, there's no fight that could be taken on the side of Geek Fam. And that's going to be an extra 4 kills over to A1 instantly.
Joy Bangla, fantastic team fight from A1 in that moment. It's just a celebration. Joy Bangla is enjoyed to Bangladesh.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah, it's okay, man. I'll educate you slowly but surely. But just to kind of break down that team fight a little bit more, 6ix9ine was a bit too late joining in on the fight with the rest of the team. It was a great play by A1 to push them back into the warehouse, but at that point, you can't presume that just because you have a one-body advantage that you've automatically won. If 6ix9ine had joined up a little bit quicker, it would have been 2v4 in the favor of A1, and that would have more likely have secured a full squad being left up for A1 rather than losing a player.
We didn't talk too much about this circle. It did up for a few seconds. It did move away from Slonovka Island and is actually going to be towards the plateau/fields right down southwest of Pachinki Hill. Pachinki Hill, talking about that position, Valdus are currently there. They're going to be just eyeing out the entirety of the circle, eyeing out the fields. There's a big chance that this is going to be a field finish Imperium or a plateau finish where currently Reject and A1 currently stand. So there's a lot of things to keep into account. Every few buildings you can control right now could be extremely valuable, and the value of them can just rocket up given the opportunity to go there if the circle is in your favor.
To the moon, baby, as I8 are gatekeeping Fnatic zombies really well on the military bridge. BTR rotated to the compound that I recommended for BTR. But it's a 2-2 split for the time being. It's a pretty chunky 2-2 split, but I appreciate it. Yala are kind of being gate-kept a little bit by DS, but they have a decent area on... it's a hill that's just outside Pachinki as well, to the east of it. And Mist, as a 3-man team, that spread they have in the circle is really bold. It's probably not going to work out, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah, that's when Blake got himself a knock and instantly confirmed that counter Hamke fire. They knew, that's what I said, right? You're always going to have Fnatic zombies that rotate so slow. And if you know this is a team that rotates slow and that they're going to cross the bridge eventually, and you got the position to gatekeep, well, go for it. And there's literally nothing to lose for IA. Not only are they in circle, they got the prime opportunity to strike onto Fnatic zombies and take them down. That's 4 kills potentially that could go just instantly for free in the pockets of IA. So there's nothing to lose, everything to win.
If they focus too much on Fnatic zombies, are they giving up a better position in the late game? I think they're aware of that, and they've sent Ozum to join up with Johnny, because recognizing that with the next phase popping up, they might all need to move as a squad. Don't forget about Fnatic zombies, but also don't get tunnel vision by them. So I like that split that I8 have on board. Zeus are close by on the west. Reject Scarlet were there, but Reject opted to go up north onto the hill that A1 were previously. So A1 should be aware that the compound they have is fantastic, but there is a number of areas to pick them off from a 360-degree angle.
I agree with what you said, especially about IA. That don't forget about Fnatic zombies. Maybe start thinking on moving forward. BTR got a very wide spread, so I'm actually really enjoying that. Zuxi a little bit closer to the center, so maybe can facilitate things out. Okay. A lot of water. Not fun. Go to the lighthouse. I8 just send everyone to where crypto is, and you might just have the game-winning position. I'm just saying, lighthouse is the game-winning spot.
Oh, my hands are just like an evil human. Like, you know, like those villains. My hands are just kind of like, wow, this is so glorious. And I8 have definitely been the biggest benefactors of that circle shift. BTR has Zuxi as an anchor point in that compound, and the whole squad are going to full send it there. So they're going to be in a good position themselves. Reject have gone down to the garage area that one of the IA players were, but moved away. And Navi, they're just doing Navi things in the fields above, picking up Myth.
Yep, moving in, picking up a kill one by one. Seems like they're going out of market on Monday morning. Been taking their groceries home. Go for A1 though, maybe trying to crash a compound eventually. Though we talked about Pachinki Hill. That's going to be it. Blacklist, they tried to move in. Valdus had position under control for the longest time, so it's not easy to move a team off of this position. So Blacklist, if I were them, I would try and run away. But there's a sneaky third party from down below from a few players of the Xavier. It's going to be Frankie and GE. And Frankie, yeah, we said it, if he keeps getting more kills, he might be above Martin at the end of today. But he needs to get himself, I think, 5 kills minimum. And talking about Martin, he's going to be actually able to pop a few shots onto him. So the war is ongoing to be the best player of this World Invitational.
He actually stole a kill that the Xavier actually got a knock off onto, by the way. So it's going to be even more kills needed. And another one picking up as Martin is going to take that one on board. Yala being punished by I8. They went for the breach, but will it work out in their favor? Powerful on to Johnny. It's going to get the knockdown. Crypto's on his knees. Uzum is going to be pushing in. Loka is holding it down in through the window. The pre-fire shots are going to be played out, and Uzum with the M249.
Oh man, he tears that door down. He got rid of it instantly with the M249. That's what you want. There's still going to be one more player. It's going to be powerful. If Yellow Esport, you need to clear this position out of the line.
Oh no!
He's going to take control. He jumps on down. Powerful. Can he get it done? Oh no, the upset. And it's still going to be near the perf. Oh, yeah, it was Blade. He was in the attic. He was chilling and comes down for dinner just in time. But man, I'm still surprised. They should have dropped there first. I said go for the lighthouse. They committed to the spread. I do not know why. That is a mistake on I8's side. But Zeus also going to have a fight coming their way versus Na'Vi as they're starting to full send their way forward. They're looking to get more and more involved in this game. 5 kills so far. Maker gets knocked, but Red shouldn't be too hard for them to execute.
Martin is knocked down. He's going to look to get confirmed. Tixie doing wonderful things. A1 on towards the outside. They waited to move away from that compound at the perfect time. So really good decision making from A1 as a trio. As you do lose another player of the Zavia who was inside the circle. He goes down. 13 teams left. 36 players. With regards to the I8 split, I actually low-key agree with it, to be honest. And I also appreciate the response they did pull out when Yala full sent it up the lighthouse.
I think it was fine, but the later the circle goes, you do not do that spread. You just commit all the building of Valdus or the lighthouse. Like now they're fine in one building. They cleared out Yala. They could have gone the complete other way.
I agree.
If Powerful was able to clutch a little bit more at the end. But you know what? Doesn't matter. It worked out. They're alive. That's good. They still might have a chance to take the win. Those circles about to shift. Where does it go? Does it go to the mainland? It does indeed. No more water involved. Still, Tira's going to be in the water down below, so could remain a little bit undetected for the longest time. Everyone's going to have to move in, and Fnatic Zombies now, there's no more waiting. You need to push your way into the circle while Na'Vi will get approached slowly but surely by NASA Esports. There's a lot of fights about to happen. Imperium still got 13 teams, but I believe we're going to get halved on teams very, very soon.
Oh, yes, and BTR are going to crash in onto Reject spot, by the way, as Nasser suffers a nade knock at the hands of Na'Vi.
Half team's actually going to get in the water. DS Gaming also going to go for a little swim. Try and work those legs and arms. Great nade from Na'Vi, trying to clear it out. NASA, after losing Miracle, they are not going to try and go for that breach. They're going to wrap around down southwest, but not through Na'Vi whatsoever. Actually, hey, they're still going for it. I thought that was going to be potentially going against them. Kitsune gets an insanely powerful nade onto Miracle. That's going to be thy kill confirmed. NASA, what's the game plan? Do you push this or do you leave it? If I were them, I would just try and wrap around, avoid the fight with Na'Vi because there's a 4-man. That is not a team you want to mess with.
You want to use that time to kind of move into the edge of the circle to try and get that tiny bit of a circle advantage. Now, of course, every step you take, every move you make, you're putting yourself in a more exposing position of being third party. So I know Nasser are aware of that. By the way, the crash came out from BTR into Reject and they won that. It was a 2-2 split from Reject, but Reject still have 2 players up in the warehouse just north of where BTR are located. So I really respect the aggression BTR pulled out as a full squad sender into that garage building.
Yeah. Tira was the luscious hair. Got to try and dry it out. You get out of the water there. Not going to be good. It's going to be all frizzled up. But hey, I'm just saying, you've got to take good care of it.
Fair enough.
Like me.
Didn't realize you're a hair expert.
I'm not actually. I'll have to ask Blank. He knows a little bit more than me.
There you go.
But yeah, Froki waiting. It could very easily just get out onto the beach and get the sneaky kill onto Tira. That'll be done after for Blacklist International. The BTR, they had a big spread, right? They were playing onto the northwestern compound, just a little bit further to the coastal line. And they actually pushed in so well, took one of the best positions in its entire circle. This is huge for BTR. We could maybe finally see them get himself a win for the first time in this event.
I said at the start of the day that I expected a BTR chicken dinner.
Maybe.
We haven't seen it so far. This is the last chance for my point to be proven right as Mexico gets blown up to smithereens by 6 of Valdus.
Try to get into position. I mean, they literally have no intel. They just literally came off the bridge. They do not know what they're getting into. They do not know where teams are positioned, so you're just going in completely blindfolded, and because of that, teams are easily going to be able to use and abuse the lack of against you. And great nade from Kitsune onto Nabo. He's trying to get himself the double whammy, but that's going to be done for Nabo as he gets confirmed away. NASA down to 1 is going to be Moomen, and he's trying to avoid detection at all costs. But Na'Vi know they're relentless when it comes to cleaning out an area. They're going to check every single nook and cranny, and even every bush. You're not going to pull a Ryzen. It is not as easy. Only Ryzen can do this.
Oh my god. Look at them sweeping as a trail in through, looking for the final player of Nasser. They're checking everything, but that's a beautiful nade. I don't think it'll quite connect, no, but his position has been locked down. The target is in sight. Navi, Tixie, why isn't he looking? You saw the nade.
Nade is the best play because you're not always sure from where it came. Unless you see the angle and the arc, then you could somewhat pinpoint the location, but I don't think they have an idea. Oh, wait, Matic's not looking there. He's looking towards Fnatic Zombies. The circle, we saw it did shift actually in favor of Valdez. The circle look is back in play apparently for them. That's huge. We did see them unfortunately lose their life in Pyramid. It could have been a game-winning opportunity for them, but losing so many players to Yala did hurt their chances a lot.
How are we not surprised that the circle has freaking shifted towards Valdez?
I mean, yes.
How are we not surprised? You know, it's Valdez doing Valdez things, playing the circle gods of this game, but Navi are here to ruin that. They're here to smite down the gods of this lobby for the time being. Fnatic Zombies have 2 players up if Salam can get the revive on Day to boot.
Oh, Myth. Not much can really do. Oroki was able to get actually the heal off for a second, so he's up 75. Molly, they don't really... Oh, I saw him. He saw him there for a split second. I propose, Imperium, we changed the name of Valdez Esport. They were Valdez the Murder. We changed it to Valdez the Circle. I think that is definitely an on-brand.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I like that one. Harry Potter Tower about to get cleared out, a boot on his knees. And Salam trying to avoid detection at all costs, but you know that is not going to work out. They get the intel. That's one great nade. And Na'Vi clear out the building as they're pushing in, and only 5 teams remain. And yeah, Imperium, double digits, 10 kills for Na'Vi. They are back on the road again.
Like, out of the 77 points they've scored today so far, 39 kills, 38 plays points. Well, that balance in itself was already good enough, and then into this final game of the day, they're rocking it up even more, looking to add to that even further. BTR having a fantastic game so far. That shift from the garage to the coastline and just swinging myths out of it, so good as we're into our final 5 teams.
A reject. I'm surprised by how consistent they've been when it comes to sneaking into the circle, so big heads up.
Yeah.
Oh, Lapis! They can make it. A nade from Lapis. That's a huge shebang. Jax also gets spotted away. That's the end for A1. They get picked off. Divine gets also sniped away from a distance. Lapis extremely low. Na'Vi are just taking so much control. Imperium this morning, Na'Vi woke up and they chose violence. They are not slowing down.
Say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and just choose violence for the day indeed. Na'Vi are stepping it up big time, and now we are left with our final 3 teams. Honestly, I think this really signifies how good of a day all 3 of these teams have had, right? Na'Vi, big time. Valdez, just consistently consistent, and BTR rising up through the ashes of what had been very, very poor gameplay in the first 2 days.
We'll see if they can try and push it to the limit, because currently this is Bigatron without a single win out of 15 games currently. Well, this is the 15th game, so maybe they'll get it closed off and actually get himself a dub to close off day 3. That'll be huge. We've got 3 big contenders. This is like a Avenger level threat finish. You cannot beat this. You got Valdez Esports, Na'Vi, and Bigatron. This is one of the most stacked finishes we have seen in a long while in this World Invitational East. But you got this road in play, but because BTR has been relatively silent over to the east, they can normally pull off that cross pretty easy, especially because Valdez and Na'Vi are now having to fight up against each other, and this is a golden opportunity for BTR to actually make that cross happen. In the buggy, they cross in, and Na'Vi trying to take 2 fights at the same time, but they're actually going to be crashing onto Valdez's building.
2-2 split, beautifully done. Now they're going to send the rest of 2 players across. Bigu gets a knock on the Ryzen.
ETR having Luxy also join up. That's going to be 2 players in. Liquid trying to get rid of 6 if possible. Concept on the high ground position 2. You need to get the res. You need to be back as a 4-man. But they still have 1 player. That's going to be Zuxi trying to cross over. But there's no way. You cannot escape the wrath of Na'Vi. They are truly born to win in this game. And they are picking up kill after kill. 14 so far. And looking to get himself potentially another 30-pointer in this one. And see their feet right underneath that car.
Oh, Kitsune!
Shots, but Kitsune! You're too damn clean, and also Gui gave himself a huge nade. The molly is also there, just cooking all of BTR to a crisp. Gui, that molly just changed the end of this game drastically, and he goes for the push. 6 closes it off. That is BTR out in 3rd. As now we only have 2 teams, but Valdez is down to 2. Na'Vi, do full send it. You have to go for the push, Imperium, indeed. Gui. He's going to be overwhelmed, having a little bit of a hard time. Gui, you got to try and play it. The old player of Power 888 now joining Valdez and doing strides for the team. But they have no idea. Where's he positioned? The smoke's making it really hard to really pin him down. He peeks around the side and he couldn't do much. All of Na'Vi play together and they take themselves another game. What a performance from the Russian team. And Na'Vi, that's another huge 30-pointer coming their way. They, as I said earlier, they woke up and they chose violence. You cannot stop the Na'Vi hype train.
They started with a chicken dinner. They ended with a chicken dinner. Bookmark the baby. What a day 3 for Na'Vi. I said coming into this game, in the first 2 Wrangle games today, they had 58 points. I don't know exactly how many points that they scored in this game. I think it was a minimum 27, but I don't think I've ever seen a team dominate a Wrangle so much. I would argue that that's a better set of Wrangle games that we saw from Valdez in the first day of the PMWI.
So to be honest, I'm looking at the scores right now. They got himself a first place at the very start with 17 kills. Then on game 13, they got himself 10 kills and... he got 14 kills and a second place. And then after that, on the Miramar game, they got a third place with 6 kills. And now they gave himself a win with an astonishing amount of kills too. I don't know the exact number. But Na'Vi, what is going on? This team woke up. We said they were struggling a little bit at the start in similar fashion, for example, as to Zeus. But they have completely flipped the table. And this is the Na'Vi we were hoping to see. The best teams by far in EMEA, really rising up to the occasion and surprising the world once again, just like in the PMGC finals in Dubai.
Just gotta say also, even just having BTR, Valdez and Na'Vi as the final
so cool
in that game, it was so cool. And I was so happy to see BTR back in the mix in the top 3, right? Really strong up as a full squad. I got that 2-2 push, but I think maybe it was done a little bit too early to the point where instead of them third-partying other teams, they were the team that ended up being third-partied.
There was no escape. There was very clearly no escape for BTI. Know what? The Comeback Kings, can they pull it off tomorrow? We'll have to wait and see. But with that said, we'll have to give it back over to the boys on the desk to break that down because we just had banger after banger after banger. I'm going to have a good night's sleep, I can tell you that, Imperium.
All right. Yeah, Na'Vi have, well, if you're going to be going to bed here, Max, Na'Vi have woken up on the other side of that coin as they've been able to do such a phenomenal job today and hopefully close that gap quite a bit up against Valdez. But again, as much as we talk about Na'Vi doing so well here, another match where Valdez makes it top 3, just stays alive and continues to build up these points. You know, whether it's 10, 15, they're continually doing here, guys.
It must be rough here for Na'Vi, to be honest with you, purely because you see this team and you see how well they've done today, yet the Titan that is atop the mountain at the moment refuses to leave from that post, and they're adapting because they're really making some smart rotations. They can't afford to fight early anymore, and it's kind of reminiscent to that very first day where Valdez took down Na'Vi almost immediately on a wrangle on the very first map. And unfortunately for Na'Vi, no matter how hard they try, they have to keep trying harder. Tomorrow has to be even better if they want to dismount Valdez, because they are just a few steps ahead at this point in time, but Natus Vincere, they are catching up.
They are catching up. Man, dude, they had 90 points on the 3 maps off a wrangled play today. That is ludicrous. And bear in mind, they also had 16 points on Miramar. They had a little bit of a quieter game on the second map, which is Sandhawk, but this has been the day of Na'Vi. If day 1 belonged to Valdez, if day 2 belonged to Zeus, it's the CIS team that's really delivered here today. And again, I have to echo what our caster said as well, right? That final circle, Bigatron, Valdez, Na'Vi. It was a 4v4v3. Na'Vi played at perfection. But Valdez Esports, again, they don't have to get the chicken dinner. They got just the one today on Sandhawk, which is just 19 points compared to their very lofty standards. But still, the fact that they're able to get its top 3, top 4 placements so consistently means no matter who does well, could it be Zeus, could it be Na'Vi, they're still going to have that massive lead they've been maintaining since day 1.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was like 70 points at some point. So if you're not able to take Valdez out early and then have a good game, that lead is extremely hard to close in on unless you're very consistent here in our final day. But as we take a look at the second page here, Blake, immediately off the bat, what I'm going to be spotting out, Geek Fam, again, not having a great match here. Xavier not having a great match. And Zeus, again, feast or famine for this team.
No, and they're starving at the moment in time. It feels like they haven't had a feast in a very, very long time. So this team, yes, you might be able to see the ribs, but they're still as deadly as ever. I think for Na'Vi, just going quickly back to this one, though, just looking at those points, the top Valda's 22 points and Na'Vi with a gargantuan 32. Regardless, it's only a 10-point extension on their catch-up towards Valdez, which must feel rough, especially with the case that, like, it's such a huge point again as well there with the 32, which is unheard of, getting something twice in a day like that kind of numbers. So it's good, and I'm really excited for the Russian team, and they really seem to have got themselves together today, and they got one more day to keep pushing it to the limit.
Well, we do have that day to come up tomorrow, but we're going to take a quick recap of what yeah, you know, it's been a long couple days working both shows, but we're going to show you who's won out each match today over the course of our third day. And we do see, as you guys mentioned, Na'Vi getting in there, and the numbers they put up, 3,500 again. That has to be the most damage I've ever seen done in a PUBG Mobile match.
Yeah, that has to be one of the biggest of all time, right? Like, sure, I've seen games where teams have crossed the 20 kill barrier, but that was just an insane performance. Even game number 3, where, you know, we saw the Xavier win a couple of games back-to-back, fantastic games from them as well, from the Vietnamese side. But even the game number 3, it was Na'Vi who actually came out on top just because of the amount and number of kills they had there. So yeah, definitely the day has to belong to Na'Vi, and it's such a nice symmetry here. They open up with a chicken dinner win, they close with a chicken dinner win, and they also have the same number of kills. It's absolute perfection for the CIS team.
Makes you wonder who on Navi's side, if it is Na'Vi, actually is even our MVP of the day. I kind of want to look towards Tixi potentially, as we talked about him on our third match of the day. But do you guys have any predictions of who you think it might be?
I think it might be Meku. Maybe?
I think Meku too. This guy is probably the most consistent player I've seen over the pretty much duration of all esports for Na'Vi within PUBG Mobile. Like, he really dragged them through the dirt when it came to PMGC, and they're really doing well today. So there he is, 590 damage average, 3.8 kills. Yeah, it just makes sense.
I will say this, I saw Bled look over his other monitors, so I discount his answer.
I wanted to check it. I just wanted to check it again, all right?
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at my second monitor. I just want to highlight the fact that he had 19 kills today, if I'm not mistaken, which is just quite nuts. But yeah, overall, Meku was very, very impactful. But then you got to count out the other members as well. Like Kitsune, he had these key plays while he didn't get as many kills as the rest of his teammates, which really set them up in a very good way. Matic 666 and Tixi as well being really instrumental. It's an all-round effort coming in. Very similar, if you ask me, to how Valdez had that kill distribution on day one.
I will say something very quickly. I mean, it's something that's bothered me for a long time about Na'Vi, which is Tixi's playstyle. That he's so aggressive sometimes, and it does come back to bite them because he's almost like the wild dog on the team. But you know, now he's got like a shiny new collar, which has got some studs on it as well. He's looking very cool, and he's really becoming part of the pack now, which is what I really like to see, because they're using him to their advantage. Yes, he still pushes, but he pushes in favor of the team rather in favor of himself. So I'm really, really proud of Tixi and how he's incorporated himself into the team now and making his playstyle work, which is just great.
And making Na'Vi work here, especially at our third day, as they have closed the gap up against Valdez. We're going to take a look, though, at overall standings to see how many points ahead the team from Thailand is from these other teams. We're going to see it's going to be at 234 points. They still have about a 60-point lead at the moment, but Na'Vi have made such big strides today, as you can see, moving up 8 rankings.
That's like, what, 58 points lead over Na'Vi, which is massive. But yeah, if you look at Na'Vi, look at the little green arrow on the left of the name. 8 points jump up in the course of one day. That is insane. For the Xavier, they've been kind of in the 5th, 6th position for the duration the first couple of days, but 2 huge games from them enabling them to bounce to the top of the table and the top 3 position there. Zeus Esports, though, like... It's rough, Blank. Like, you watch these guys, and when they pop off, it is magnificent to watch. And then when they don't, it's like Jason said, it's either feast or famine. Like, either 0 points, 2, 3, or they get like 25 points. At one point, you want to see them kind of get some semblance of consistency. But as we do enter the final day, I do wonder if they're going to be able to find it in time.
I mean, they do have some of the symptoms of success that Valdez also has, which is where they go for those early compound rotations. But I think Zeus does it in quite an unsafe manner. And when you do get those compounds, when no one spots them on that rotation, it's absolutely fine. You're right, their actual gun skill and being able to control those final circles is phenomenal. But I think Valdez Esports just has these rotations down to pat, whereas Zeus Esports, they either they roll the dice, and if they hit a 6, then it's a chicken dinner. But most of the time, they're rolling under, and a 5 is just not good enough for the moment.
I do want to just give a small shout out to A1 as well. I mean, they were languishing at the bottom of the table for the longest time as well, right? They were alongside, I think it was I8 in the 13th, 14th position. Actually, no, I think they were like 15th, 14th position yesterday. We can probably take a look at the second page to see where I8 is right now. But today they had some really good showing. Sure, they weren't able to get too many chicken dinners and whatnot, but they were able to at least crack that top 8 position. And hopefully, if they can continue to deliver, it could really get interesting. For me, looking at the second page, though, the obvious disappointments for me personally has to be DRS and I8. They looked very good in PMPL South Asia Championship just a month or a couple of months prior, and they have kind of struggled to deliver here in this particular event. And of course, the other big name here, Blank, has to be Bigatron, right? 9th position, dropping out of the top 8 at the end of day 3. That's a rough season.
I think this is just where they're sat now, and I don't really want to say too much more about it because this feels like the norm that we're going to see from Bigatron. We've only got one more day, and it's very unlikely that they're going to get towards that top 5 position. If they can, it'll be a huge achievement. I'd love to see it happen, but right now, all eyes over towards Xavier, as well as Na'Vi and Valdez.
Well, we do have one day of matches left to come, and if I were to ask you two, what do you think the Battleground order will be? Pretty sure you can both guess it, because it's been the exact same every single day so far, and it will continue to be so until we close out the tournament tomorrow. We've got Erangel, Sandhawk, Erangel, Miramar, and Erangel yet again. You can see the times, 1800 ICT of when you guys can tune in and see all the action that's happening. But the real question comes with the lead we have towards the top. Practically like 100 points between 1st and 4th place. I'm really wondering, can any team outside of the top 3 even catch up to Valdez right now? Or are they looking to take home that $250,000 for a charity of their choice? It's going to come down to that, and it's going to be an explosive day either way.
I mean, I want to I don't want to say the cliche where like, oh, anyone can catch up, anyone can pull off the win and upset them. I just want to be realistic here. Valdez have barely made a mistake here, right? Even in the games where they're not really topping the leaderboard, they're so very consistent, and they've just done themselves a huge favor by having that monstrous day 1, which I won't lie, I don't think it's going to be replicated at all by them come day 4. I don't think it's going to be replicable by almost any team on the planet right now, honestly. That was an insane performance from them. But what I liked from them was after that, they didn't stop playing to win. There's a big classic mistake when it comes to a lot of teams, right, Blank, where you have a big lead and you start playing not to lose rather than playing to win. Valdez didn't do that. They kept going, they kept pushing, they kept making teams uncomfortable, and that allowed them to maintain, not just maintain the lead they had, which is 50 points in day 1, but even extend it end of day 2, and they are at 60 points lead. Was day 3, I'm sorry, which is...
Well, like you said, it was a bonfire of a start at the beginning there, but what a lot of teams get wrong is just putting on those logs on the fire and burning out way too quickly. But here, you know, Valdez have been really measured, and they've been kind of conservative with how much effort they're putting in here. And I really like to see it because, like you say, with such a monstrous lead right at the beginning, all you need to do is keep that lead ahead. And that's absolutely fine. They've set themselves in a great position to take that 250 grand home, which is looking very likely for them. And it would be a really huge pride for Thailand if they can.
Well, we'll find out if they can, but that has to wait until tomorrow because we now have the West Conference coming up today here at the PMWI. It's coming up in about 10-15 minutes time. So guys, if you're not going to stick around for that, which you should, make sure you're back here tomorrow at 1600 ICT to see the conclusion of the East Conference. Either see you soon or see you tomorrow. PUBG Mobile World Invitational is powered by Gamers Without Borders and is brought to you by OnePlus, the official smartphone provider, Nemo TV, the official streaming platform, and STC, the official playout sponsor. And we are now into our penultimate day here of the PUBG Mobile World Invitational. It's day 3 with 1 day left to go, hence penultimate. We're going to find out which team will be at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the day and one step closer to taking $250,000 for the charity of their choice. $3 million on the line over the course of these 4 days. It's been a 6-week-long event, and it all concludes with the best game of them all with some PUBG Mobile. I'm your host, Jason Kaplan, and I have to bring in 2 analysts to help break down everything happening today, everything in the past, and even predicting things that will happen in the future. It's going to be Frost, it's going to be Seven Worlds Gaming. How are you two gentlemen doing today?
Doing great today, man. How about you? We never really get to ask you, Jason. You know what, Frost? First of all, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm a little bit like, I don't know. I'm still wondering if I'm cursed or not. That's
You are.
I am? All right.
Yeah.
And we're not mentioning any names there. But yeah. Jason, how are you doing today?
I'm surviving. I'm surviving off some great games of PUBG Mobile, to be honest. It's some long days, but luckily they're action-packed games, and it's all for good cause as well, right? We'll take a look at the prize pool, or the breakdown of the prize pool, I should say, here over the course of this event. $250,000 for charity for the #1 ranked team at the end of the entire event. There's still $80K to go at the end of every day. You can see everyone does get a little bit of money to donate to the charity of their choice, and all for such a fantastic cause. And speaking of this money, what can it actually do for you? What do these amounts equate to when it comes to the real world? And $250,000, actually $1 million, does relate into, I believe it's 270,000 people to be vaccinated with 2 doses. And you got to give a big shout out to all of the sponsors involved with this as well. They're helping make Gamers Without Borders happen. UNICEF, Gavi, Direct Relief, International Medical Corps, King Solomon, Humanitarian Aid and Relief, all making this possible. And I hope to one day have this entire world vaccinated so we can finally go back outside and start enjoying life yet again. But at least during these times, we get to enjoy some PUBG Mobile, boys.
Heck yeah, man. We've been playing so much, and especially the new mode. If you guys haven't played the new mode, Mission Ignition, go check it out because it's a lot of fun. You get to use riot shields, you get to use the new Teslas. There's just so much stuff you can do in the game now.
That's all we get to hear. The riot shields.
Dirty things, yeah. Of course he says riot shields first, right? Because one of the dirtiest items in the game for him.
You can stop cars with them and everything, They're just so much fun.
I think Seven's looking to actually buy some in real life and then test them out. Let's take a look at the schedule, though. No, I'm not giving you ideas. I'm pretty sure it won't stop a car in real life, so don't try it. We need to have you on the shows. We do have the same battlegrounds being played in the same order every day. Erangel, Sandhawk, Erangel, Miramar. And Erangel, once again, so 3 Erangels a day. 1 Sandhawk, 1 Miramar. We'll actually touch on Erangel a little bit later on today. But guys, this is going to be a really tough day for some teams. Over in the East Conference, we definitely have our one team far ahead of quite a few of the others, but we did have a big climb back today out of a couple of different teams in particular. But I'm wondering what's going to happen here in the West Conference, because we have a lot of teams out there that we expected to do well that unfortunately haven't risen up to, their names and their stature. Let's take a look, though, at the overall standings so you guys get an idea if you missed out on the last days of who currently is sitting in that first place position. And honestly, guys, expected? Yes, no? Canina Power next Rio Gaming? What's your thoughts, Seven?
Actually, for me, the top 2 were a little bit unexpected considering of how day 1 started. But it goes to show what a great bounce back Canina Power had. And also next Rio Gaming, they're currently tied in first place for points. But the one thing that's I want to highlight a little bit more is Canina Power, their fragging power. 51 kills, currently the most out of everybody, even though they are currently technically in second place. Alpha 7 Esports, that was another big surprise. We saw them kind of dropping off. We are going to talk about them a little bit more, but we really haven't seen the star player in Carrillo, and luckily for them, other players are starting to step up. And then I think maybe the biggest surprise for me is Chivas Esports from Mexico. They're currently sitting in 4th place with 90 points. That is just so impressive to me. I cannot wait to see how they're going to be playing. Yesterday, we saw them being a little bit more aggressive. We saw them, especially in Erangel. They didn't get those second places that we saw on day 1, but now they're at least starting to improve in their overall placement and also starting to frag out. And then we have 19 Esports right there with 80.
Okay, जाओ दे